and get yourself checked out. Visit linkbylovetv.org to learn more. Get the facts, get checked, and get healthy.
Join the movement. Listen to The Tori Lowe Show on 101.7 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, the locally owned Good Karma brand station.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat. Sports talent agency A&A Management, founded by black twins Aaron and Andre Eanes, is thinking outside the box when it comes to creating opportunities for the next generation of sports stars. Growing up in Cleveland, the Eanes brothers watched their parents work as Burger King franchise owners. And Andre talked to Bloomberg about the impression it left on him and how the worlds of business, branding, and sports were always blended together.
We watched our parents do the work. We watched our parents walk the sites. We watched our parents go through the things they had to go through, managing, a franchise like Burger King in the early 90s, and one of the things that, stands out to me the most is like a lot of my dad's partners were Browns players, Indians players. We got to go hang out with Indians pitchers and their families.
Eanes referring there to the team now known as the Cleveland Guardians. Eanes' most recent success story is that of NFL superstar Travis Kelce. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
During Lowe's Pro Savings Days, the job works in your favor. My Lowe's Pro Rewards members buy more and save more on materials they rely on every day. Get up to 25% off select molding when you spend $1,000 or more, and up to 25% off Pergo Evercraft laminate flooring. Put Pro Savings Days to work for you. Members get more at Lowe's. Valid through 3/27. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Visit the Pro Desk or Lowes.com/terms for more details. Subject to change.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
He steps to the mic with a boom, ping, ping. Wisdom sharper than a beast's fierce sting. Words like fireflies that light the night. He turns the dark into blazing bright. Boom, ping, ping, the truth takes wing. Milwaukee's voice, let the city sing. Boom, ping, ping, hear the freedom ring. Sherwin's the king, oh, the airwaves king. Shake the ground, unveils the truth where lies abound. Politics, justice, social streams. He molds the chaos into dreams. No silence here, just the sound of change. Boom, ping, ping, rearrange. Boom, ping, ping, the truth takes wing. Milwaukee's voice, let the city sing. Boom, ping, ping, hear the freedom ring. Sherwin's the king, or the airwaves king. Through the static, through the noise, he amplifies the people's voice. Boom, ping, ping. Like a heartbeat's call, he's got the wisdom to break down walls. Yeah.
Welcome to the program. Today is Thursday, March 19th, 2026. Just want to give you guys a couple of reminders and refreshers because there's a lot happening in our world, and it's very easy to lose sight of things that once were very significant, but then you wake up the next day and something else significant has transpired. And I'm quoting all of these things I'm about to say. If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. If you're a WNBA pot-smoking black lesbian, do you get treated better than a United States Marine? Happening all the time in urban America, prowling blacks go around for fun to go target white people. That's a fact. And it's happening more and more. If I'm dealing with somebody in customer service who's a moronic black woman, I wonder, is she there because of her excellence or is she there because of affirmative action? If we would have said that Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called racist. Now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to be taken somewhat seriously. All of those were quotes from a fella by the name of Charlie Kirk, and I barely scratched the surface on his damaging rhetoric to black people, black women, black men, black youth, black culture. In fact, he created a brand out of it. It is the foundation of an organization called Turning Point USA, which he founded and now his wife is running. Now, let me be clear. I defend and defended Charlie Kirk's right to say all of those things. Is it ignorant? Is it bigoted? Is it racist? Is it based on lies? Absolutely it is. He still gets to say those things, even though I vehemently disagree. As I'm sure I say things that some of you vehemently disagree with as well. But we chalked that up to him and his perspectives. And he had a following. I would argue his following probably grew after his murder. He was not assassinated. He was murdered. Big difference, okay? And his following probably grew, but in a weird way, I want us, the good people of this country, to be able to identify those who share Charlie Kirk's sentiment. I want us to know who they are, where they are, what they do, where they live, so that we can opt to stay away from them and to not help them further their cause. I don't think that they should be silent on how they feel about us and about culture and about immigrants and hell, about Democrats. And I want them to be loud and to be vocal so we can use them and their ignorance as teachable moments, because for too long, people like that and those that follow Charlie Kirk, and there will be another one. In fact, there's probably another one being groomed right now. Probably thousands of Charlie Kirks that are being groomed right now. I think it was last week where I read from a screenshot of a group chat where the Republicans in Miami-Dade County used the N-word over 200 times, including threatening to kill and murder black people and murder black babies, etc. And so, because we don't see it every single day unless you go look for it. Like, you can go search TikTok, and I'm sure you can find racially insensitive videos. But for the most part, the people that we work with, the people that we see when we go grocery shopping, we're not in their heads, and we don't hear them oftentimes yell and scream out racist rhetoric. And if you go through a whole day or go through a whole week and you don't hear anybody spouting off these terms, you may think that that kind of racism and bigotry doesn't exist. And then when it happens, when it appears out of nowhere, oh my God, we're shocked. I didn't think the world was like this. And you know who says that more often than anybody else? White people. They're so shocked that racism still exists. They thought that they were done dealing with it and done learning about it and done talking about it after Barack Obama got elected, not one time, but 2 times. And I'm here to let folks know that it's very much alive. It is just covert and it's hidden. There's a scene in one of my favorite movies, Inglourious Bastards, where the Nazis, who participate in some pretty significant brutalities in the movie and in real life, said that when the war was over, they were going to burn their uniforms and nobody would ever know that they participated in the atrocities carried out by Nazi Germany. And the character played by Brad Pitt, Lieutenant Aldo Raine, said, oh, no, not so fast. And he carved a swastika in their foreheads with a knife where it would leave a permanent scar. So for the rest of their lives, they would be identified by that swastika that Lieutenant Aldo Raine carved in their foreheads. He, Lieutenant Aldo Raine, did not want those Nazis to be able to blend into regular genteel society after the war was over and after they took off their uniforms. We don't have such identifying markers. You have me. I help you identify those people. So I read some quotes from Charlie Kirk. Also, please keep in mind that when he was killed, which, you know, it wasn't nice. That wasn't a nice thing to do. I'll admit that. That was very mean to kill that fella, okay? You're not supposed to do that. You can protest a little bit. You can send a couple of emails. And if you're on a college campus, you can say, hey, we don't want him to come here. You're probably not going to get your request honored. But, you know, there's things that you can do if there are folks that have rhetoric that you don't particularly agree with. But please keep in mind that, well, now the number they're telling us is 13. 13 U.S. service members. Notice the number of service members that they're reporting that have been killed in the war goes up, but there's never really a corresponding incident. That's just we're getting a new number every single day. Personally, I believe that it's a triple-digit number, but so far they're saying 13. So when the first 6 or maybe 7 service members died in this Israeli-Iranian conflict, the president, the vice president received the bodies. I believe it was Andrews Air Force Base, if I'm not mistaken. There was no real honor for those service members. Typically, the first that are killed in a military conflict, the president will order flags to be flown at half-staff. If this doesn't give you more detail about how this president feels about servicemen and servicewomen, when Charlie Kirk was offed, flags were ordered to fly at half-staff, but not for military servicemen and servicewomen that were killed in the line of duty, carrying out Donald Trump's war on behalf of both Benjamin Netanyahu and the Epstein files. I want you to think about that for a second. So to me, and I'll give you supporting documentation, even though here's what I'm starting to find in my old age. I don't even like explaining myself. I kind of stopped explaining myself. I know for the purposes of talk radio, I need to because people need more definition and detail. But in my personal life, like if I say something, that's the complete statement. I'm not going to give you details and documentations and point you to websites. I'm just going to say, yeah, this is just how I feel. Screw you. All right. I know for these purposes, I need to give more detail. I don't think that Charlie Kirk was the best representation of an American. And you're probably wondering, Sherwin, because that's what you say when you wonder. Sherwin, why are you talking about Charlie Kirk? Why are you digging up them bones? Sherwin, leave him alone. He's gone. From today's Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. A portion of Washington County Road may be named Charlie J. Kirk Way in honor of the late conservative activist if the county board approves. Amid a packed room, the 5-member Washington County Executive Committee voted unanimously to recommend renaming part of the county road and paying for signs promoting the name. I'm going to take a break, come back. And I want to give you some juxtaposition. Did you know that the original proposal for Martin Luther King Drive, did you know this, was Capitol Drive? You know, Capitol Drive is called Capitol Drive because if you take it, it takes you all the way to Madison. Did you know that? It turns into Highway 190. That's why we call it Capitol Drive. I'm sure you guys knew that. What, Green Bay Road, you ever heard of Green Bay Road? Why do you think we call it Green Bay Road? Because if you stay on Green Bay Road, it takes you to Green Bay. I hope I'm not giving you all a geography lesson about your city. You ever heard of a street called Fond du Lac? If you're true blue, you say it this way, Fond du Lac. Why do you think they call it Fond du Lac? Because if you stay on it, it takes you all the way to Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. Capitol Drive was the original proposal in 1984 to be named Dr. Martin Luther King Drive. It's supposed to be MLK Drive all the way to Madison. You can imagine with some of the communities and counties that street, that road, that highway, that state highway traversed. A lot of people opposed to that, so we compromised. From, how ironic is this, Capitol Drive to about McKinley. It took 40 years to just rename 3rd Street MLK Drive in Milwaukee. I'm going to give you the details of it because I think some of y'all don't know. The original MLK Drive was supposed to be all of Capitol Drive from where it starts, basically at Lake Michigan, going all the way to the state capital of Madison. That was thoroughly rejected, so there was a compromise. We'll start MLK Drive at Capitol Drive, and we'll make 3rd Street MLK Drive. And it stopped at McKinley because white downtown business owners didn't want the street that their businesses were located on to be renamed after arguably one of the greatest Americans that has ever lived. It took 40 years, and here's the other irony. Right now I'm sitting in the 3rd Street Market Hall. There is no 3rd Street. The entire street is MLK Drive, but they still wouldn't rename this place that I'm working in. Talk about the irony. I'm in the 3rd Street Market Hall on MLK Drive. Every other address on this street is MLK, except for this one. I think they call us, we're 301 West Wisconsin Avenue. No, we're not. Front entrance is on MLK Drive. So I'm going to take a break, come back. Just kind of let you know what we're dealing with. Charlie Kirk is going to have a stretch of highway named after him. And it was a unanimous vote. Now, will it pass the full Washington County board? I think it will. But I guarantee you, naming that stretch of road in Washington County for a man that vehemently hated black people, it's not going to take 40 years to name that road in Washington County. So if you happen to be a black African American that lives out there in Washington County, please call in when you get pulled over on the newly named Charlie Kirk Road, because I'd love to hear your story. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
This is 101.7 The Truth's Kyle Wallace, and I am Milwaukee. I take great pride in being a 414 boy and representing the city that I love. The great memories I have of going to Northtown Cinema to see movies with family and friends, to going to Capitol Court to see the Black Santa Claus, this city has helped shape me into the man that I am today, and I pledge to utilize my voice as a way to advocate for you in our community. Join the home of Milwaukee's realest conversations where you can speak your truth. We are the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. Milwaukee Black Talk.
As the White House threatens to take over state elections, restrict abortion nationwide, and take away our health care, the Wisconsin Supreme Court is the last line of defense for our rights. That's why the Supreme Court election on April 7th is so critical. The ACLU does not endorse or oppose candidates, but wants you to make an informed decision. When it comes to abortion rights, Maria Lazar supported overturning Roe v. Wade and is endorsed by groups that want to ban abortion. Chris Taylor voted against abortion bans and defended abortion rights while working with Planned Parenthood. And on the issue of voting rights in Wisconsin, Maria Lazar defended efforts to rig elections for one political party through extreme gerrymandering of congressional and legislative districts. Chris Taylor opposes rigging the system with extreme partisan gerrymandering. On April 7th, stand up for our rights. Paid for by American Civil Liberties Union, Incorporated.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Amid a packed room, the 5-member Washington County Executive Committee voted unanimously on March 18th to recommend renaming a part of the county road and paying for signs promoting the name. Now the 21-member county board will... Why in the hell does Washington County have more county board supervisors than us in Milwaukee? Now the 21-member county board will discuss and possibly vote on the resolutions at its April 21st meeting. In order for the resolutions to pass, 16 of the 21 board members need to agree, Chairperson Jeff Schleif said. While a resolution said the cost of the signs is estimated at $50,000, County Executive Josh Showman, a little FYI on Josh Showman, he was a Republican candidate for governor. He would have been in a primary election against Tom Tiffany, but Josh Showman decided to drop out of the race, leaving no Republican primary election in August, meaning Tom Tiffany gets to go straight through and raise money until November. And then the other part about this is that usually during a primary, the Republican candidates, as you're going to start to see eventually, I hope, with the Democratic candidates, is they'll poke each other, they'll test each other, they'll challenge each other, they'll debate each other. But because Tom Tiffany is alone and there is no primary, a whole bunch of money is going to be saved by them not having a primary election, and also some of the negative things that Josh Showman undoubtedly would have brought up about Tom Tiffany, and likely the inverse is true. Tom Tiffany would have brought up some negative things about Josh Showman. None of those things are going to get said, so the Republicans are going to sail into the November gubernatorial election essentially clean. So Josh Showman is the Washington County executive, just for a little background on that fella. County Executive Josh Showman agreed with the concerns that the county taxpayers should not foot the bill for renaming the road Charlie Kirk. Instead, he is advocating it be paid with private donations, and I guarantee they get it. Not only do I guarantee they're going to get the necessary $50,000 worth of donations, because there's costs when you rename a street. You got to redo the street signs, and you got to do all of the things, and got to change some stuff. They're going to get that money. In fact, they probably would get that money from Turning Point USA, because that assists that organization with their outreach. Do you know that they're calling for Turning Point USA chapters in like 100 American high schools? Pure, poisonous, conservative indoctrination in our schools. And they say that liberal schools and public schools and Democratic districts are indoctrination. Some in the conservative movement think that the actual truth and the facts about American history, the unemotional and objective facts of American history, you know, the things that happen in chronological order, they think that that's indoctrination, the actual truth. I did something yesterday that I don't ever do. In fact, I did something yesterday that I've told you all not to do. There used to be a time where, not so much here because I've shut it down, but at previous radio stations I've worked at, where you all would watch Fox News and just get like irate by what you saw and what you heard. How they talked about President Obama, how they talked about, I don't know, Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden, whomever. And then you all would call my show and say, oh my God, Sherwin, I can't believe what they were saying on Fox News. And my response was always the same. Don't watch Fox News. And you can save yourself a whole bunch of grief because they peddle nonsense. And especially some time ago when they still are, they were essentially Trump's news network. And so I told people, look, don't watch Fox News because it's going to get you angry. And don't watch Fox News because you don't want to be exposed to the advertising that you are going to be bombarded with if you're watching a Fox News show or a Fox News segment, because you then may inadvertently support a business or a company or a product that chooses to advertise on Fox News. So yesterday I watched a little bit of it. I just wanted to see how they were talking about the war we're losing. I don't know the fella's name, the host. He was on in the afternoon, 4 or 5, I don't know, 6 o'clock, whatever. They talk about Democrats like they're the Antichrist. Every other word, every other statement, they showed Democrats depicted as a skull and crossbones. Why do the Democrats hate America? Why are the Democrats keeping TSA workers and other federal agencies from getting paid? The Democrats are the most awful and evil thing. And I listened to it for maybe 10 or 15 minutes. I was enthralled by the delivery. When I'm thinking to myself, if you have been watching this network for months, for years, or in some cases for decades, you hate the opposition party. There would be no good Democrats ever. It doesn't matter what a Democrat does that's positive. Doesn't matter what they say. You would hate all of them. More than hate, you'd want to be violent toward them. I never in my life, in the 10 or 15 minutes that I watched, my jaw was dropped. I couldn't believe it. And then I'm like, okay, let me put on the lefties. Okay, because their rhetoric on Fox News, and like every single segment had to have a portion that was dedicated to how horrible the Democrats are and how they screwed everything up and Donald Trump is the savior and the hero. It was mostly how bad the Democrats were. They would, every now and again, they would say, oh, Donald Trump did this, and oh, Donald Trump is winning the war, but the rest of it was dedicated to just tarnishing and banishing and outright lying about the entire Democratic Party and every single person in it, right? So I said, let me do a little juxtaposition here. Let me see what the lefties are talking about. It wasn't even close. I watched MS Now, and there's a show with, what's the black, Simone Sanders, Michael Steele, who I hate. I hate him. And it's another white lady that's got a Hispanic last name. They're trying to make the show, the MS Now show, I don't even know what the hell it's called. Then they got a gay guy that does it on the weekends. It's too woke even for me. It's so woke, I was like, there needs to be more sleeping because the show is it's too much. They're trying to check all the boxes. And I'm listening to them. They're like, oh, my God, I can't believe Trump did that. Trump can't do that. Why would he say that? There needs to be an investigation. They're still stuck on the things that Donald Trump says. They're still stuck on what he does. He can't do that. And Fox News is just hammering relentlessly. It's like a bombardment. It's like Tel Aviv getting bombed by Iran. It's just hypersonically relentless. They're just going after the Democrats every single segment, and then you go over to the lefties like, are y'all even fighting back? No, they're whining. They look weak. I was like, I knew I felt some kind of way about these damn Democrats. Notice you haven't heard me interview any of these Democratic candidates for governor on my show. I don't want to talk to none of them because they're pretending like the world is not on fire. They're still too busy being nice to each other. They're not competitive. And I can't respect somebody that's not competitive. Like, I just don't. I can't. You were fighting for the fate of the world. So I'm going to take a break, come back. I'm going to get more into this Washington County renaming a stretch of road after Charlie Kirk. Y'all should be so glad I'm not governor. Because if I was governor, okay, while I was campaigning, because apparently I would be campaigning now, I would start clearing the field out. You know how Donald Trump cleared the field out in 2016? He just one by one, all those other Republicans that were seeking the nomination, he just cleared them out. That's what you got to do. Otherwise, it gets too complicated and too convoluted. And, voters, don't really multitask very well. So when you make it confusing for voters, voters just kind of tune out. But if there's only one candidate, like the Republicans have done with Tom Tiffany, that's the route you have to go. But clearly Democrats have not. It's been so long since they won a legitimate election on policy. I think they have forgotten how to win. And they keep listening to a segment of the party that is small in number and even smaller in voter turnout, and they wonder why they don't win. So if I got elected governor, it'd be great for some of y'all. But then I would take a look at places like Washington County, where by the time I get sworn in January 5th-ish, 2027, I put my hand on a little Bible. Hey, do you, Sherwin Hughes, swear to protect and defend the Wisconsin and the state and the Constitution in America? Yeah, I do. Have some woman next to me that clearly is not my wife, some woman I probably met the weekend before. That's who I'm going to have with me in my swearing in. She's probably wearing a party dress, definitely dressing appropriately for my swearing in, but I need a date, so whatever. They swear me in, and I give my little speech. Like, hey, thank you guys, Wisconsin, for electing me governor. Yeah, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of Washington County, you know, the county, one of the 72 counties in the great state of Wisconsin, forward, because that's our motto. I'm going to make Washington County one big data center. Yeah, I'm going to tear down all the houses. All the people are going to be relocated or dislocated. I don't know, let them go over to Iran and fight. But yeah, I'm going to make the entire county one big data center. And they're going to say, oh my God, Sherwin, you can't do that. Yeah, I can. It's called eminent domain. We need data centers. You know how they built a freeway directly through the heart of my community and they destroyed 8,000 black-owned homes and businesses and never compensated those homeowners and those business owners? Guess what, Washington County? If you want to name a street after a racist bigot, then I'm going to make your entire county a data center. Sherwin Hughes for governor 2026. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The legendary Broadway show is back. The Wiz. The Chicago Sun-Times raves. It's an eye-popping, high-intensity revival. The music, the voices, the legend returns. Entertainment Weekly says, run, don't ease on down to this spectacular revival. The Wiz. Playing the Marcus Center, March 24th through 29th. Tickets at marcuscenter.org.
You served behind the desk.
You served in combat.
You did 4 years and got out.
You were drafted.
You gave 20 years.
You gave exactly what your country needed.
And so did you.
When you raised your hand and swore an oath to your country, when you put your name on a dotted line, you became part of only 1% of Americans who did the same. You are a veteran.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran. Because no matter when, where, or how you served, you made a sacrifice for your country, and you deserve support.
If you're struggling with life after service, don't wait. Reach out.
Reach out to a loved one, to a fellow veteran, to VA.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Many of our most important memories are made at school. But for children like Victoria, the classroom can be a place of fear and isolation. She wore a bandage over her cleft every day, too shy to speak, too afraid to smile. Everything changed after one life-transforming surgery made possible by Smile Train. Today, Victoria's smile lights up her classroom, a symbol of confidence, connection, and new beginnings. Due to stigma, children with untreated clefts often miss out on school entirely. But thanks to Smile Train, students like Victoria are stepping into the classroom, raising their hands, and finding their voice. Smile Train partners with local experts to support with free cleft surgeries and other comprehensive care, empowering children to thrive in school and in life. Let's help every child walk into the classroom with confidence. Visit smiletrain.org/learn.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Eight 833-212-1017. Maybe I should run for governor. Washington County, Waukesha County. We need data centers. And listen, that's unfortunate that the people are raising up against data centers. But y'all are not reducing your use of the cloud. The Apple cloud, iCloud, the Google Photos, and the cloud. You got to put the data center somewhere. You ain't going to put it in Milwaukee. This is where all the manufacturing is. You got to leave our infrastructure as it is. But out there where it's old farmland, where there's no food being grown, make it. That's the best use for that land. Plus, hello, we could collect more property tax dollars. Let's talk to that one guy. You're on 1017 The Truth. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. No data centers. No, sir. No, but I'm going to hold up before you bash it. Shoot them out into space or put them in the ocean, not next to our precious fresh water.
Well, then leave it. Then don't have it near the water. Then ain't no lot of fresh water in Washington County. They got ponds out there and little small lakes. Plus, data centers have the technology where they can use recycled cooling systems, so they're not taking all of the fresh water. So I'm imagining you're probably talking to me. Sir, are you talking to me on a cell phone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're probably one of the reasons why we need a data center. So go to a payphone or call from a landline, and then you can say, no, I don't want the data center. But, sir, you're using data. And, no, who's going to put a data center in space other than Elon Musk? And I don't think we trust him with that kind of contract.
It's possible, though, and it's probably healthier for us, too, because I personally think that, they recycle the water and shoot it back, but I think the water gets probably contaminated somehow.
It's possible, but it's not probable, sir. Where we are right now is because people are living in a fantasy dream. Like, oh, we could do all these things. We could have all these things. Maybe we could, but it's not reality. We got to live in reality. We got land right now. We got space right now in Wisconsin. Sir, have you ever just got a question? Hold on now. Hold on a second. You called me now. Have you ever traveled through the state of Wisconsin? You ever gone what they call up north? You ever traveled this beautiful state? Okay. Once you get out of the metro area, what do you see when you're on the highway? And you're just driving for miles and miles and miles. What do you see? What's out there? Big cities and skyscrapers. You see space. Exactly. So we don't need to put data centers in outer space. Stop. You can't talk when I'm talking now. You can't why would you put data centers in outer space when we have all this flat land inner space 20 minutes from Milwaukee? That's all I'm saying. And plus, where do you even live? You don't live out there, do you?
No, but Sherwin, it's limited space though. We can't just take up our limit. We can do it smarter. We don't have to just.
Where do we have limited space?
Yeah, it's cheaper.
Where's there limited space?
There's limited space on Earth, Sherwin. It's not as big as you think.
Okay, I want you to. Here's what. Okay, fair enough. Okay, whatever you say. I don't know if you've ever traveled to places like North Dakota, South Dakota, rural Minnesota, Nebraska, Oklahoma. There's nothing. Most of Texas, other than the 5 or 6 big cities, is just nothing. We are not challenged for space. Like New York City is crowded, but once you get into flyover America, look at Illinois. Once you get outside of Chicago, Illinois is literally nothing. They call it the flatland because the land is flat. We ain't got to go outer space. That's insane. And plus, it's not like we're building any infrastructure on all this vacant farmland. We got space, and we need that space for data centers.
Maybe in the short run.
No, forever. Because nobody even lives out there. The populations are so low that if people don't like a data center being built in Waukesha County or Washington County or Dodge County or Columbia County or Calumet County, they can just move. That's what I thought. Thank you for you. That's all right. Why am I arguing with him? And he's Mexican. They hate his guts. I'm trying to help him. Jeez. Thought I'd have a receptive audience today. Quote, I think taxpayer money should not be used for that, he told the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. He said he is confident the county supervisors would support that financial aspect moving forward. At the committee meeting, County Supervisor John Schrondin agreed, if we take donations only, that changes a lot. They're talking about the $50,000 they would need to rename a portion of a road or a highway in Washington County after the bigoted, racist Charlie Kirk. It took us 40 years to name what a 3-mile stretch of 3rd Street, MLK Drive. And it's not a direct comparison, obviously. But to compare the accomplishments of Martin Luther King with Charlie Kirk, pretty big difference, right? And I'm all for naming stuff after great people. Naming a road or a street after Charlie Kirk, so it's disrespectful to all of the non-white people that live and pay taxes in Washington County, but I want people to see it for what it is, because this era that we are currently living through is going to serve as the most significant embarrassment in all of American history, because 20 and 30 years from now, like, you think that we're upset now, history is going to be even more upset at us, because the consequences of our actions or inactions right now is going to harm the future in ways that we can't even fathom. We have no idea. I got a whole bunch of details of what Donald Trump's executive orders have already done, and they will get worse. The impact, the intended and unintended consequences of Donald Trump's executive orders, the 200 or so that he signed his first couple of weeks in office that most of us either don't know or totally forgot about, are going to upend American history long after Donald Trump is gone. And a lot of us will not be around in the world in the future that we help ruin. A lot of this stuff is going to fall on Gen Z and Gen Alpha. Good luck explaining this when you guys are in your old age and you screwed the world up, because you guys are responsible too now. Everybody got to bear some responsibility. But naming a road after Charlie Kirk is like erecting a Confederate monument in 2026. And that is how history is going to see it. They're going to say, wait a minute, why would you name a street after a dude that said, quote, if we would have said that Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called racist. Now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. You don't have to have a brain. You don't have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go and steal a white person's slot to be taken somewhat seriously. He also said, if I'm dealing with someone in customer service who is a moronic black woman, I wonder, is she there because of her excellence or is she there because of affirmative action? He also said, happening all the time in urban America, prowling blacks go around for fun to go target white people. That's a fact. It's happening more and more. First of all, targeting white people is not all that fun. He also said, if you're a WNBA we may share the same sentiment on the WNBA. Oh, relax. None of you have filled out a women's WNBA bracket. Stop lying. You haven't. If you're a WNBA pot-smoking black lesbian, see, that goes too far. Do you get treated better than a United States Marine? Well, that depends. He also said, these are just a couple of quotes. There's so many more. You can write a book on what he said about black people. If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. So because he said that, now I remember when he said it. Said it a couple years ago. I never even thought about the race of the pilot. I assumed because somebody is flying my plane that they know how to fly the plane. Me as an African American, if I get onto a plane and it's a white pilot, like, what if that white pilot is like, hey, I don't want any blacks to survive. I'm gonna fly this plane into the ground. What if the flight was full of black people? What if it was a flight leaving from Mitchell, our airport here in Milwaukee, going to, where's the rodeo in Texas that y'all had a fit about? The Dallas, Houston rodeo, where all the black women were there with their butt cheeks hanging out? It's the whole black flight leaving from Milwaukee going down to Daytona Beach spring break. That pilot might be like, I'm going to kill these blacks. Only Charlie Kirk would make mention of something like that, the race of the pilot. And they're naming a road after him. I remember when people were real mad. I'm not sure what, because the anger has subsided or the anger has been redirected, where people were going around throughout the South tearing down Confederate monuments. It was a great moment. It's like really cool. Like, yay, finally. And you can't erase history, but they shouldn't be in the middle of a town square in a public park. That's not the place for that, because they were traitors. Do you guys know they committed treason? Like, why? We're the only damn country on the planet that would erect a monument dedicated to treasonous traitors. Do you think that there are any Hitler statues, like what the Hitler salute, in Germany?
You go to jail for that.
It's a felony, but not here. So there was a period of time where we were tearing down the Confederate monuments, and then we stopped. And so what are they doing now? They're going to re-erect them, and I think naming a street after Charlie Kirk is, in fact, a modern-day Confederate monument. So if I was governor, I'm like, you can have your street. Ain't going to be no houses on it. It's going to be a data center. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The Brew Crew are back on March 26th.
Curio sends it deep to left, and there she goes!
Catch the Brewers on local TV as they open up the season against the Chicago White Sox.
And Yelich launches one deep right center field. Forget about it. Oh, my goodness, third deck.
Brewers opening day is presented by Construction Business Group. Tune in March 26th at 1:10 on Fox 6 in Milwaukee, or check your local listings to watch the game.
Life's better with American Family Insurance, because we know you love working weekends, if it means working on your dream home, both inside and out. And we're here to help protect those dreams so you can enjoy peace of mind. Save up to 40% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on where you purchase insurance and by state. Some exclusions apply. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Hi, I'm attorney David Gruber. After an accident, you need a trusted winning team on your side. For more than 30 years, Gruber Law Offices has helped Wisconsin families get the results they deserve. If you've been injured, call our firm today for a free consultation. We're available 24/7. Wisconsin's own Gruber Law Offices, proud partner of Euro Milwaukee Brewers. One call, that's all.
Your taste buds are in luck. The Reuben is back at Cousin Subs. Try this classic sub grilled to order just for you. Stacked with corned beef, Wisconsin Swiss cheese, and sauerkraut topped with Thousand Island dressing and served on rye bread. And our delicious mint shake is back. Both the Reuben and mint shake can be ordered via the Cousins app or online for a limited time only. Cousin Subs. We believe in better.
Want to protect our planet? The air we breathe, water we drink, and land we share? Real progress begins with birds. Yes, birds. The very ones we see and hear every day. On a walk, in the park, or simply out the window. That's because birds are more than birds. They're symbols, sentinels that reveal the health of our planet and our people. And by helping them thrive, all of us thrive as well. Audubon is a place where birds matter, where habitats are protected, where communities are engaged, and where change takes flight. Because at Audubon, hope begins with birds. Progress begins with birds. It all begins with birds. Audubon.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
there were two separate historical ideas. The actual 1980 street renaming fight in Milwaukee, 3rd Street to MLK Drive, and it was a fight. Ultimately, it passed 13-3. This was in 1984. It was so embarrassing for the, I'm assuming, white alders that voted against renaming just a portion of 3rd Street MLK Drive. They didn't publish their names. So one of them I did get, it was Paul Henningsen. He was a no vote because at the time he represented downtown and downtown business owners, including Mater's, the old German restaurant that was located on Old World 3rd Street. They didn't want their 19th century German dining hall to be located on MLK Drive because they thought it would hurt business. They thought that it would scare white people away if the same restaurant that had been there since the 1800s was now located on a street renamed for a great historic American. And that was the excuse that they gave, and other businesses came out and said, well, no, it's going to cost us too much money to have to change our name on our business paperwork. But you know the real reason why they didn't want to rename it. And so there was a compromise. Because we weren't going to name all of Capitol Drive from Milwaukee. Because Capitol Drive starts at the lake. Starts right there. Is that a lake park? Lakeshore State Park right there? It literally starts with a park bench overlooking Lake Michigan. You take it all the way west. And if you continue on Capitol Drive, you get to the state capitol. I think that would be cool if all the Capitol Drive going into Madison would be named after Martin Luther King. But clearly it was a stretch, literally. So there was a compromise. We'll start MLK, the street, at Capitol Drive, and it'll go south toward downtown until you get to Old World 3rd Street, where it would remain Old World 3rd Street for another 38 more years. And here's the reason why I believe Alderwoman Malele Coggs, who led that cause, because it's her district, or part of it is in her district, where the rest of, because it would have been Old World 3rd Street forever because the businesses on 3rd Street had no interest, none, in being located on a street named after MLK. Consequently, I bet businesses are going to rush to relocate to Charlie Kirk Street in Washington County, but let them do it. But then be aware of those businesses and how they actually feel about that man. The only thing that changed enough hearts and minds to finish naming MLK Drive. Now, clearly it stops here at the 3rd Street Market Hall because there is no 3rd Street in Milwaukee. It's MLK. Between certain streets, there is no 3rd Street. It's MLK. Martin Luther King Drive. There's something that happened that pushed people over the edge and said, okay, fine, we'll name it after Martin Luther King. And it was the murder of George Floyd. That's what it took to name the remaining, 7 blocks? For 40 years, it still remained 3rd Street. Nope, MLK Drive stops right here at McKinley. Nope, on this part, it's Old World 3rd Street. And it took the murder of George Floyd, where 1 billion people on 6 continents protested. Then it said, fine, you can have your 7 blocks. Oh, you happy now? No, we're not. The real documented proposal was to rename North 3rd Street after Martin Luther King, rename the entire length of North 3rd Street from downtown Milwaukee through Milwaukee's black community up to West Capitol Drive and create a continuous, prominent corridor honoring King. Symbolically connect downtown economic power to black neighborhoods. What actually passed, they called this the 1984 Compromise, like it was some big international event. Due to heavy resistance, especially from downtown business owners, the city split the street. Wisconsin to McKinley downtown. Oh, they renamed it Old World 3rd Street. I thought it was always Old World 3rd Street. That's crazy. So as a show of defiance and opposition to 3rd Street being renamed Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. That section of downtown, I think it's like 7 blocks. They said, we want to call this part Old World 3rd Street. Let's make America great again. Think about the directional reference. Make America great again is a backwards reference, right? It points to a time, in history when black people couldn't vote and couldn't get jobs and couldn't drink out of the water fountains and all that other stuff. Old World 3rd Street relates to the old world in Milwaukee back before we as black people had major significant presence. Wisconsin Avenue to McKinley Avenue would be renamed Old World 3rd Street. McKinley Avenue north to Capitol Drive would be renamed Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. This was a political compromise here's the reason for the political compromise. Are you ready? The Washington County about to get a Charlie Kirk. You know what? Should I go to that Washington County board meeting next month when they vote on?
You should. I'll record it.
I might not make it out of that motherfather, but it's a public meeting. Somebody would try to stop me. I bet you they try to ask for my ID. Like, do you live out here? Because, in those small conservative towns, they pretend like, oh, no, the public is not allowed to this meeting. They always try and do that mess. And because I'd go to jail. They would arrest me for not leaving a public meeting that the public is invited to. And I don't want to. I got to see what my schedule is like that week. If it's okay with my schedule, maybe I go to jail for a little while. But if I got stuff to do, if I have meetings and I can't do jail that week, then I probably won't go. This was a political compromise to protect tourism and business branding concerns of white businesses on 3rd Street. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for hour 2.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
From the biggest plays on the court to the comments made in the locker room after. An in-depth recap of every Bucks game. In 6 minutes. No more, no less. Bucks in 6 on the Bucks Plus audio network. If you missed any of the game or just want to relive the biggest moments, Bucks in 6 provides game recaps every morning after. Hear the high-flying dunks from Giannis or the deep threes from Miles Turner. And catch the comments post-game about what happened on the court. Bucks in 6 on the Bucks Plus audio network. Find it now on bucks.com/plus or on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Coming with straight truth.
Did you go along with this? Did you plot this out? Did you go into the store with the intentions of causing a negative situation? This is the part that people don't like once they get into court after they get caught. Now, should he be executed for killing somebody he didn't do? I don't think so. He's already serving life. He's going to die in prison. I think that's what's going to happen. At the same time, this is a message to the younger folks.
Catch the Tory Lowe Show every weekday from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m.
Hey there, Jane Lynch here. You want to hear something funny? Too bad. You want to hear something uplifting that will inspire you? Good. Because today, I want to talk to you about Direct Relief, a humanitarian organization that does seriously good work when it counts. Fires, hurricanes, earthquakes. When disaster strikes, Direct Relief immediately shows up with medicines, medical supplies, and everything doctors and nurses need to save lives. Let's ship her out! Every day across the United States and around the world, they're making an enormous difference. If someone needs help, Direct Relief helps. No politics, no red tape. Hey, what you doing over there?
Oh, I'm packing insulin for kids with diabetes.
See, every box here is literally a lifeline for someone in critical need. So check them out at directrelief.org and donate if you can. You might just bring a smile to someone's face.
I take care of the kids, and I take care of my dad. I take care of things at work. The groceries, the cleanups, the meltdowns, the doctor's visits, the family events, mealtimes, bedtimes. I take care of all the things everyone else needs. But I haven't made time to take care of what I need.
Family caregivers are often overloaded. It can feel overwhelming and exhausting. It's no surprise that millions of caregivers experience symptoms of anxiety and depression every year. But help is available, because there may only be one you, but you don't have to do it alone. head to mentalhealthcareworks.org. That's mentalhealthcareworks.org to learn how to get the support you deserve, because mental health care works when you make the call. If you're experiencing a mental health crisis or thoughts of suicide, dial 988, a message from the American Psychiatric Association Foundation.
Listen to the man who tells you exactly how he sees it. The Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris every weekday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. on 101.7 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 2 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, giving a historic timeline of how long it took. It's embarrassing to tell this story of how long it took to get the remaining, I don't even know if it's 7 blocks, it might be 6. 6 blocks of Old World 3rd Street renamed Martin Luther King Drive, because those of you that know that MLK Drive in Milwaukee starts at Capitol Drive and it proceeds south until it hits McKinley, then from McKinley until Wisconsin Avenue, where 3rd Street stops, it is Old World 3rd Street. I thought it was all called Old World 3rd Street because you still got the cobblestones there, and the street appears as it did back in the 1800s. But as a pushback or as a response to wanting to name all of 3rd Street after Dr. Martin Luther King here in Milwaukee, a business association, a collection of entrepreneurs on 3rd Street said, well, if you're going to name part of the street after Martin Luther King, we want this part, our part, the downtown part, to be named Old World 3rd Street. Just as a reminder that some people still want to bring back the old world. They're so nostalgic, aren't they? But they're nostalgic for the wrong reasons. I'm nostalgic because I miss my youth because Milwaukee was different. There was more stuff to do. I don't miss my youth because we used to go around and beat up white kids. We didn't beat up any, well, hold on, depends on what they did. We didn't beat them up because they were white. Duh. That would be racist. But they're nostalgic. And when I say them, you know who I'm talking about. They're nostalgic because we had less power. We were less organized. We had less authority. We had less rights. We had less opportunity. They could legally discriminate. They could deny us everything from the vote to a home loan to a job to justice. That's their nostalgia. And they love to be reminded of it. In fact, I would argue Make America Great Again has probably been one of the most successful political slogans in the history of this democracy. And I'm not saying it's successful because it was good. It worked, and it was a whole logo. It was a brand. And Trump wasn't the only one, nor was he even the first one to say it. There's clips of Bill Clinton saying Make America Great Again. Different context, same words. But you know who we got it from? Ronald Reagan. When Ronald Reagan announced his 1980 campaign for president, he announced in a very specific place. And people, you got to know this stuff. So the county fair, I think it's Neshoba County, Mississippi. Like, why would you launch your campaign as a Republican in a deep red state where you wouldn't even have to campaign? Ronald Reagan never had a campaign in Mississippi. To this day, neither Democrats nor Republicans campaign in the state of Mississippi because Mississippi is going to be red absolutely no matter what. It doesn't matter when the election is. The damn election can be on a Wednesday. Mississippi is still going to be red. It doesn't matter who the Republican candidate is. It doesn't matter if the Democratic candidate is a black, lesbian, gay woman, Marine who's an ex-WNBA superstar. It doesn't matter. Mississippi's going to be red. And it's been like that since the party switched under the Southern strategy with Richard Nixon in 1968. Okay? But Ronald Reagan was very intentional. He was a very symbolic man. He announced his run for president at the Neshoba County Fair just outside of Philadelphia, Mississippi. That is a place where 3 civil rights workers, 2 of them white, 1 of them black, were found in a shallow grave, murdered, trying to register African American voters. They were murdered. It's a whole FBI investigation. And I think there may have been a conviction, but like 30 or 40 years later, if there was ever a conviction. And that was an event that shocked the nation. Like the church bombing where the 4 little girls were blown up in that church in Alabama, that was one of those things during the Civil Rights Movement where it kind of woke the consciousness of the sleeping nation up. In fact, one of those little girls, her head was blown off. They found her body without her head. And when the story of that made national news, a lot of people were like, well, maybe we should give the blacks some civil rights. Because speaking of compromises, there was a compromise that racists and Klan members and white nationalists and white supremacists left black people alone in church. That's why so many of our parents and our grandparents grew up in church, because it was the only agreed upon safe space for black people in the Jim Crow South if we were at church. But then they bombed the church, and then the black people were like, well, where can we go now? So you had that incident that took place in Neshoba County, Mississippi, and Ronald Reagan said, I want to send a clear and resounding message to people in this country, especially racists. This is Ronald Reagan's stream of consciousness, because he could have announced his campaign anywhere in the country. He was intentional. And his aides later on came out and admitted this was the motivation for picking a very unusual place to announce your presidential campaign, in a very small town, a little small county fair, in a very, very red state in which you would never have to return, you would never have to campaign, you would never have to spend any money. You don't got to run ads for the Republican candidate on Mississippi television. You just don't have to. Even though Mississippi is one of the blackest states in the country, if I'm not mistaken, their levels of education are so low amongst African Americans that voter turnout is so incredibly depressed that the white conservatives and white Republicans have enough of a vote share in the state of Mississippi to make sure that that state remains red. I'd imagine the last time Mississippi was blue, maybe 1972? Nope, 64? Either 64 or 68. Who knows? But Ronald Reagan wanted those racists to know, I'm with you, and you're going to have a very comfortable place somewhere in my administration. My policies will be reflective of what you did less than 20 years prior to Ronald Reagan announcing his candidacy for the presidency. Like, these are the kinds of things that we have to know. And then when you look at the trajectory of Ronald Reagan's 2 terms in office and what it did to not just deindustrialize our central cities, but incarcerate and over-incarcerate African Americans, even before the 1994 crime bill. You had to have the prison infrastructure first. This was also a president that did not say HIV or AIDS until 1987. By the time Ronald Reagan, because when a president makes mention of something, it gets attention. And people didn't know really what AIDS was. It was, for those of you that were around during that time, it was terrifying because we didn't know how it spread. Like, we were afraid to touch people. We were afraid to shake people's hands. 100,000 people had died of AIDS before Ronald Reagan even mentioned. I think it was in May of 1987. And then when he mentioned it, people were like, oh, because it was a disease that killed gay people and black people. and he didn't want any research done on it. But then, like, Rock Hudson got it. Then when the whites started to get it, then Madonna was a big anti-HIV AIDS crusade. There were marches all over the country trying to get attention on AIDS, and Ronald Reagan just ignored it because it was a disease that killed blacks and gays. And if you look right now in this modern incarnation of the Republican Party, they still have animosity toward those two specific groups, just so you guys can get a little bit of history, because I know they don't teach this kind of stuff in the schools. Capitol Drive's original purpose. Capitol Drive, Highway 190 in Wisconsin, was historically designated a regional arterial route from Milwaukee westward through Wauwatosa, Brookfield, Pewaukee, Oconomowoc. It ultimately feeds into routes that continue toward Madison. Historically, many Wisconsin roads were named for the destinations they connected to. Beloit Road. Oh, that's another one. If you take Beloit Road, apparently all the way until it runs out, you end up in Beloit. Fond du Lac, the same way. Green Bay Road, Green Bay Avenue, same thing. Appleton Avenue, if you take Appleton Avenue, well, Appleton turns into 41. But if you keep going, you'll be in Appleton. There was a plan to rename Capitol Drive from Milwaukee all the way to Madison, but the idea was mostly symbolic. MLK Drive could be a part of a major east-west civic corridor, potentially tied to Capitol Drive's regional significance. But in practice, the naming effort stayed focused on 3rd Street inside of Milwaukee. So the original proposal was name the whole thing, all of Capitol Drive, MLK. And the whites were like, you're crazy. Could you imagine having a mansion out in Pewaukee on Martin Luther King Drive? Could you imagine? The main thoroughfare splitting Waukesha County in half is named after a black civil rights activist, arguably the greatest American that's ever lived. Who else is on that list? George Washington wasn't that good. He was just the first. Thomas Jefferson was the second. He was worse. Or was John Adams the second? I think John Adams was. They all weren't very good. Here's what I'll give them dudes, even though they owned people. But owning people was like having a lake house. Like people that own lake houses now, like it was opulent. It's like, oh, I own people. What do you do? What do you have? Who does your work for you? Oh, you do it yourself? Ha, 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 ha. I have a lake house. So it's like that kind of opulent wealth. It wasn't, everybody didn't own slaves. But it takes away a lot of their credibility because they're like, oh, all men are created equal except for these men. And, of course, women weren't included, and Native Americans, and all sorts of other people. Maybe we should do that. Put together a list of great Americans. Some of you, before yesterday, would have said Cesar Chavez. Then damn, C's? Come on, dog. Dolores Huerta, is that her name? She's 95 years old. There's no statute of limitations, I don't think. Well, maybe there is. But now you got Cesar Chavez celebrations that are being canceled. We canceled ours here in Milwaukee. There's some places that are talking about renaming all the. We've got a lot of Cesar. Cesar Chavez is almost like the Hispanic Martin Luther King, right? He was the creator of the United Farm Laborers, United Migrant Farmers. We should put together a list, on a side note, of who you think the greatest Americans are. How many black people would be on that list? Let me see. Who was my short list of greatest Americans? Well, obviously Dr. King is one. Obama. Because, come on, he did something no other American, literally did something no other American ever did, ever. W.E.B. Du Bois. I think all of my greatest Americans are going to be black because they had to overcome more. Did you know that there really wasn't an Irish potato famine, that was a lie? The English were exporting all of Ireland's other fruits, vegetables, crops, and livestock, and just left the Irish to eat potatoes. So if there was ever like a low harvest, or sometimes they get, crops can get infected, then the Irish would be screwed. That's why they left, because the English were screwing over the Irish, and all the Irish had to eat were potatoes. There wasn't a famine. They had plenty of potatoes. They just got tired of eating them. But the English was taking all of the other fruits and vegetables and the other things that Ireland was growing to feed itself, and they were selling it. It's so bad. I learned a lot about the Irish. They call themselves a race, which I totally disagree with, but they got screwed over real bad. Like, I didn't even think that white folks did that kind of stuff to each other until I actually look at history. White people have been killing each other for thousands of years. Like, they were really mean to each other for no reason. Oh, yeah? You're a Catholic? Well, I'm a Protestant. I'm going to blow up your car. It's an Irish car bomb, and now it's a drink called an Irish car bomb. You guys ever heard of the Irish car bomb? You drop a shot of whiskey and a beer and you get drunk. Talk about culture.
You ever heard of the 100-Year War?
Yeah, it lasted for 100 years.
Yeah.
I don't care what they did to each other. I just want them to not do it to us. That white people had a lot of, like World War II, other than the Japanese, well, we messed with it. I think we had sanctions on Japan, and Japan was just like, screw you, America, we're going to bomb Hawaii a lot. But World War II was just white people killing each other. Like 20 million of them. That had nothing to do with us. Now, we as black Americans got drafted, but when white people fight, why don't you guys just... Because when black people fight, we don't enlist white people to help us. Why do you guys enlist black people to help you all? Like this whole war in Syria, which not Syria, Iran. Syria's in it too. That's not our deal. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got nothing to do with that as black people. We have other stuff we need to be focused on. And quite honestly, and I know this bothers a lot of people when I say this, the Epstein files, that's them. I know that we like to point to ways in which white people and white culture are immoral, disgusting, and illegal. It does no good. It does no good. Look at all the people in the Epstein file. Those aren't my people. And look how white folks are dealing with it. They're ignoring it. That's them. We ain't got nothing to do with it. Ain't no black people in them files. Yeah, somebody got on the plane. Okay, guess what? There's pedophiles that are probably getting on Delta and American Airlines and Spirit, definitely Spirit, and Frontier right now. You're going to blame those airlines too? Jeff had a plane. He flew a bunch of... Everybody wasn't diddling kids. But if it was majority African-American famous people and rich people that were molesting and raping those children, there would be prosecution. So right now, the only person that's in prison is Ghislaine Maxwell, and that's a white woman. What does that got to do with us? How do we think as black people we need to relate ourselves to the Epstein files? We have known about their corruption. They raped black women and made slave babies. None of this is new to us, but all of a sudden, like, oh my God, the Epstein file. This is what they do. It's also why I've taken issue with when we look at disparities, we always compare black and white. And I guess obviously you should, because white people have more, they're doing more, they got more money, their education levels are higher, blah, 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 blah. But look at what they had to do to get the advantages that they have, and we are comparing ourselves to that. That's the part that's not fair. We want the funding to be equal. We want the justice to be fair. We want the opportunities to be on a level playing field. Then do the comparison. But right now, we are comparing ourselves and our lower levels of education, lower levels of income and home ownership, and our health disparities and all the things to people that literally raped and murdered and are still doing a lot of raping and murdering. So that's the part that I disagree with. I'm going to take a break, come back. I'm going to talk to a foremost expert on domestic policy on the other side. I'm sure they have a lot of good things to add to the conversation. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Will be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Milwaukee Black Talk.
You don't want to be there. You don't like the work. You don't like the people. Now, there are some differences. The only difference is modern American slavery and capitalism versus 19th century. We were dramatically more primitive back then. And a slave that is able to buy their freedom is the same as the disaffected, disgruntled worker that is able to buy their way into entrepreneurship because that for them is freedom.
Listen to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Feeling lucky? Then roll into Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee this March for Lucky Rollers. Every Thursday, we're giving away over $70,000 in prizes. Play with your Potawatomi rewards card for entries, and you could roll out with $550 in reward play. Or get lucky and win your share of $16,000 in cash. Lucky Rollers, only at Potawatomi. More info online. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play.
Walk in for a suit, walk out with two. It's buy one, get one half off throughout March at Nick Avani's. Suits, blazers, hats, jeans, and more. Everything you need from a hands-on team that styles you from head to toe. Find a suit, add shoes for half the price. Land a perfect two-piece set? Now add a vest for 50% less. Prom, weddings, galas, whatever's on your calendar, now's the time to stop in to Nick Avani's. Second floor at Mayfair Mall across from AMC. Buy one, get one half off throughout March at Nick Avani's. Some exclusions may apply. See store for details.
Join me every Friday at 11 a.m. for the Milwaukee Experience with Sherwin Hughes, presented by Visit Milwaukee. We're a city that knows how to celebrate, where the calendar is packed with festivals, the plates are piled high with flavor, and a lakefront sunrise sets the stage. Here in Milwaukee, every street leads to something worth savoring, a place that welcomes you with open arms and where joy is shared in bites, beats, and cheers. The Milwaukee Experience every Friday at 11 a.m. exclusively on The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, presented by Visit Milwaukee.
70 million people in the U.S. have learning and thinking differences, like ADHD and dyslexia. Each has their own story. This is ours. At first, I thought it was just a phase. Then schoolwork became a struggle. Emotions got bigger, and my kids started falling behind. I felt alone, like I was lost in the dark trying to find answers. Then I learned about Understood.org, a nonprofit empowering parents and kids like us. It was like we had a light to show us the path ahead. Whenever new challenges came up, their guidance helped us figure out our next step. We still have tough days, but now we have direction. And I have the tools and resources I need to help my child thrive. No matter where you are on the path, Understood can help you keep moving forward. Visit understood.org/yourpath today.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
George Washington Carver. Somebody said that in the YouTube chat. He's one of the greatest Americans. He made a bunch of stuff out of the peanut. Not just peanut butter. He made explosives and a whole bunch, like 300 things out of the peanut. He's definitely up there. Reggie's talking about Mississippi. Brett Favre was jacking food stamps. Yeah, not ours though. That's a Mississippi problem. It was crazy because a number of my colleagues talked about what Brett Favre was doing to people in Mississippi. Like, we have enough stuff to worry about in Wisconsin and Milwaukee. Like, we find outrage wherever we can get it. Look at what Brett Favre did to those poor people in Mississippi. Y'all don't live in Mississippi. Ain't got nothing to do with you. I'm just saying, you can't. Because when you lose focus of what's happening at home, like, oh, look what's happening over in Oregon. Look, a black person got punched in the face by a cop in Plano, Texas. Let's everybody in Wisconsin get mad. Why? For what? That's the people in Plano, Texas will be able to handle what they need to handle if a cop punches a black person in the face. Like, we always look for other places where black people are getting screwed over. Somebody who I know has been screwed over by the police before. Hello, Bob.
Hello, Sherwin. You know, I'm telling you, 4 days of information you've given us out forgotten some of the stuff you said, and it was good that you said it again that I can remember. You know, what I take on today's topic, sir, is that racism was worse back then when we were coming up. The dogs was on Martin Luther King, you know, but, you know, then the white folks said, the negative white folks said, let's make it more bearable so we won't have so much protest. However, Trump is trying to bring it back. That's why he put that picture of Obama looking like a monkey. You know, he's trying to bring it back. And, you know, however, white folks want to make it more undercover racism. You know, keep us from protesting so much and breaking windows and stuff like that. Make it more bearable. But they do it incognito, very carefully. They know it's a lot of cameras around, and so it's not like it was, but racism was a lot worse than it is now. It just was. And, you know, black folks just are somewhat, we don't have the leaders, and it's not that we need the leaders, because white folks have made racism more bearable, I guess, because they make it more undercover. That's what I think, sure.
All right.
All right. It's really nice of you to be nice today. I mean, you know, you're a smart aleck most of the time, but it's really nice of you to be nice, a little nice today, and not get smart.
No,
Talk to you later.
All right, then. We'll see you later. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with somebody that thinks that racism is more bearable. It's gone. It's more covert, but I think it's worse because we don't see it. We're not equipped to see it. And if we're not equipped to see it, then it can continue, replicate, and duplicate in a covert fashion. Now it's in the environment. Talked about this a couple of weeks ago, where like the majority of African Americans in this country live close to either toxic waste sites, have lead water pipes, live within a stone's throw of a highway or a freeway where car emissions has increased the number of black people and black children that have respiratory diseases and asthma, and increased incidences of cancer, and black women that have higher rates of ovarian cancer and breast cancer. See, you can't blame racism directly because there's not a white person in your face calling you the N-word, and there's not a cop sicking a dog on you. That racism was more overt because it has gone a little quieter. It's gone a little softer. It's gone a little darker. I shouldn't say softer. We think that it's not as bad. I would argue that it's worse because now it can operate in the shadows. It can operate in this gray area. So here's what I'm going to do, because I feel like I need to explain this to people. And this is for everyone's edification, not just black people, but white people and Hispanic people and the Asians. We love the Asians very much. The Asians have been quiet. Where are my Asians at now? Come on, we need y'all to get in the game. If I'm coaching this team, it's about time we get our second string Asians in here now. Y'all gonna have to get in the fight now. Come over here with your fancy educations and your good jobs. Shout out to you, but come on now. They don't like you either. I've got a list of pieces of legislation that throughout the years, I'm gonna go back, we'll go back 90 years, give or take. Pieces of legislation or executive orders that had a direct or indirect impact, positive impact, either direct or indirect, on African American earning and quality of life, right? I'm going to give you a whole bunch. There's more than you think. This is mostly for those that say, oh, well, legislation and rules and laws and Democrats or whomever have not done anything for black people. People say that because they don't know. And so I'm here to inform you, like, oh, no, there's a whole body of legislation going back. Really, we can go back further than that because the first civil rights legislation was 1866. But then I want to give you what Donald Trump has done to systematically reverse and overturn 80 and 90 years of precedent and of legislation and executive orders that have shown measurable improvement for black people and black communities, because it's now under the umbrella of DEI. And I want you guys to have a different perspective of DEI, because some people think, oh, DEI is just to help women. If it does help women, so what? It helps black people more. And some black people, shockingly, are women. Huh, go figure. Anything that levels the playing field, provides an opportunity that didn't used to exist, creates a sense of fairness and justice, is considered DEI. Anything that addresses a need that went unmet, anything, any issue, any problem, any system that institutionally and structurally harmed black people on purpose, that was reversed, examined, and overturned, is considered DEI. Everything from cancer research to grants to historically black colleges and universities to incentives for entrepreneurs and home ownership, because, you know, we were kept out of home ownership for a very long time. Any bill or policy or executive order that was designed to say, hey, black people used to get screwed, let's unscrew them a little bit. The knife is in the black back 9 inches, let's pull it out 3. So anything that even attempted to pull the knife out a little bit, let alone all the way out, is considered DEI. Since Trump took office, and the clock is still running on this, 38,000 African-American women have lost their jobs because they are in some way, in public sector or private sector, connected to DEI. Because really what they want to say is any place where a black person has any kind of opportunity is DEI. Eliminated because it's not fair to white people. They also use the same logic in saying, oh, we have all of these Mexicans over here and all these illegals, they're over here taking your jobs. Let's deport them. They are being deported, I think, even though they're not telling us how many they are deporting. Your job prospects aren't going up, particularly for the African-American men that had an anti-immigrant stance, which is based on ignorance, which I'd get it. We thought that our depressed economic situation would get better or would go away altogether if we just got a bunch of illegals out of the country. Here's the part that I want them to connect. And maybe I'm not the one to tell them because they get mad at me because I expose how dumb they are. You think they're going to kick Mexicans out of the country and hire you? They hate us too. In what parallel universe do you think a cohort of people that have made it clear that anyone who is non-white is on the enemies list, if they kick out one cohort of non-whites, do you think they're going to give the opportunities to us? No. The opportunity will go to AI before it goes to us. I'm going to take a break, come back. Let's give you guys a little more detail, because I want you guys to be able to be prepared when you have your little debates with people. You know, when you go out to the bar and discuss politics and religion. I also probably should address something I put in the Hughes Views Facebook group. I said it's not recommended, which all of you overlooked. If you're going to go through your partner's phone, don't just stop at the text messages and the photos. Check their Google Map locations, check their Uber and Lyft rides, check their food delivery services, and check the Notes app. I'm just saying, if you're going to do that, I don't recommend it, but don't just look in the obvious places. Look in the places where you're actually going to find what you're looking for. And y'all got mad at me. A bunch of hit dogs hollered on that one. Sherwin, why would you? I trust my spouse. And then one person was like, oh, everybody, my wife has my password. Dummy, but you don't have hers. Idiot. Oh my, I hate when men are dumb. Fellas, we got to have a talk, fellas. Well, if my girl asks for my phone, I'll give it to her in a second. Okay, now ask her for her phone. I bet you can't even get near it. Bet she takes her phone with her when she goes to the bathroom, walks out of the room, don't she? She don't leave that phone laying around. Just take her phone, put it in your pocket, and watch her freak out. All right, enough of that. Come and get some of y'all divorced. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 on your FM dial and on 101.7 The Truth. Actually, there's no 0.7 in the website. It's just 1017thetruth.com. You can stream us there. You can also go to youtube.com or open up your YouTube app from your smartphone or other mobile device, search 1017 The Truth and hit subscribe. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Many of our most important memories are made at school. But for children like Victoria, the classroom can be a place of fear and isolation. She wore a bandage over her cleft every day, too shy to speak, too afraid to smile. Everything changed after one life-transforming surgery made possible by Smile Train. Today, Victoria's smile lights up her classroom, a symbol of confidence, connection, and new beginnings. Due to stigma, children with untreated clefts often miss out on school entirely. But thanks to Smile Train, students like Victoria are stepping into the classroom, raising their hands, and finding their voice. Smile Train partners with local experts to support with free cleft surgeries and other comprehensive care, empowering children to thrive in school and in life. Let's help every child walk into the classroom with confidence. Visit smiletrain.org/learn.
Thank you, Milwaukee. Because of you, the second annual Truth Community Awards was an unforgettable celebration of the leaders, changemakers, and heroes who make our city shine. A special thank you to our incredible partners, Milwaukee College Prep, the Milwaukee Bucks Foundation, Gruber Law Offices, Steinhoffels, Cousins Subs, and 3rd Street Market Hall. And thank you to our presenting sponsor, Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Together, we're celebrating community, culture, and impact. We'll see you next year at the Truth Community Awards.
Hi, I'm Vanessa Williams, and I want to share with you the role that diabetes has had in my family. I lost my grandmother at the early age of 64 due to complications with diabetes. She was warm, generous, and a constant encouragement for me to follow my heart. Did you know that African Americans experience chronic kidney disease at a rate that's 25% higher than white Americans? And we're almost 4 times more likely to develop kidney failure. Diabetes and high blood pressure are leading causes of kidney disease, which can result in kidney failure, needing dialysis, or a kidney transplant. The good news is that you have the power to check out how well your kidneys are doing and learn ways to prevent them from failing. So go to your doctor and get yourself checked out. Visit linkmylovetv.org to learn more. Get the facts, get checked, and get healthy.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
First, from 1938, the Fair Labor Standards Act of 1938 raised the wage floor in sectors where black workers were overrepresented, the service industry, agriculture, etc. The impact on that legislation in the 1940s through the 1960s, black workers saw disproportionate wage gains as minimum wage coverage expanded. Research showed that 1938 Fair Labor Standards Act narrowed the black-white wage gap in covered industries. Social Security expansion, 1935, and expanded again in the 1950s. The mechanism was it initially excluded agriculture and domestic workers, where most African Americans at the time worked. It was later expanded to include them. It increased retirement income security for black families and reduced elderly black poverty rates significantly in the 60s and 70s. The GI Bill, where available, provided education, housing loans, and business capital to veterans. The impact was indirect but also unequal. Where accessible, black veterans saw higher lifetime earnings via education and home ownership. It's more evident now than when the bill was created. You got all sorts of black veterans that go to the VA to get the health care, and they got VA loans for the houses, and people thank them for their service. Question, vets, does that get annoying? Especially if you were stationed, if you're a black veteran and you didn't see any shooting time, you didn't go to any wars, I'm trying to think of when that would have been. Probably from 75 to 95, so that's 20 years. Maybe even, well, until September 11th. So if you served, say, from 1975 until 2000, and you didn't get shipped off to any theaters of war, then you just were like stationed in Frankfurt, Germany, and you were just like having sex with a bunch of white German women. When people thank you for your service, do you feel like, oh, I didn't really do nothing but have sex? I mean, you had to go through like basic training, and you had to listen to a drill sergeant yell at you, so I guess there's that. But does that get annoying when people just come up to you and be like, oh, thank you for your service? There was an article that was published by a vet, and it gave his perspective. And he was a white guy, though. I'm wondering if African-American veterans have a different perspective on this. In this article, he took us through a day in his life. He just went to the grocery store. Now, he wore his veteran's hat, which he said he stopped wearing, because he said he would be like I don't want to laugh. It's not funny, but it kind of is. He'd be in a grocery store, just minding his own, and he's wearing his veteran's hat. And it wasn't even because he wanted to show off that he was a veteran. He just was like, oh, I didn't comb my hair. I put on my hat that says he was in the Navy or whatever branch. And he said people would like send their kids up to him, tap him on his shoulder or tug on his coat, and they say, oh, thank you for your service. And he said it was constant and it was nonstop. Whenever he was in public and someone knew that he was a vet, it was nonstop. People would come up to him. They'd say it in his face. They'd tap him on his shoulder. But he was like, I have PTSD, and these people are coming up to me when I don't expect it. He was like, he turned around one time. He had like a flashback, and it was like a 7-year-old kid. He was like, I was about to choke that kid out because the kid snuck up on me. Like, I'm a veteran. I got PTSD from the war, and you're sending these people up to me. You're sending your kids up to me. So I'm wondering, is that annoying? Because we're trying to be nice when we say it, because I didn't go to the military. One of my friends did, and he got dishonorably discharged from the Marines, and that's worse than a felony. And I'm thinking to myself, if he didn't make it, I know I wouldn't make it. I never had a desire to be a military person. But shout out to the people that do, but you're making a choice. And you hope that you get in and you don't have to, because I don't want you to have to die for this country, because this is not the version of America that I want anybody to die for. The Obama version, maybe. Oh, let's talk to our resident veteran. Marlon, you're on 101.7 The Truth. Do you get annoyed when people just come up to you constantly and thank you for your service?
Yeah, because you can tell sometimes when it's genuine and when it's not genuine. When they just say, you can tell the difference. When I can tell the difference, that really bothers me. But when you can feel that the person is really telling the truth, then it does not bother. And the bigger issue is when people come up to you and pat you on the back or grab you or touch you on the arm or something like that. For me, that's like a fight or flight thing. And sometimes I almost hurt a couple people who have come up behind me and touched like my back and stuff like that when not knowing.
I'm glad you shared this with us. So when you see another vet, and you were a Marine, correct?
Yes, sir.
Semper Fi, Devil Dog. When you see another Marine, how do you address him or her? Do you guys do a wave or a nod? Like, how do you interact with one another?
Normally we say Semper Fi to each other.
Okay. I guess I shouldn't have said that because I'm not a Marine.
No, no, that's fine. That's fine because everybody kind of knows what we say. But like if I see another submarine, I'll say Semper Fire, what's up, Devil Dog, or something like that effect. So yeah.
I'm glad you shared that with us because I want our audience to be a little bit more informed that you guys do get annoyed when strangers come up to you and touch you and always want to thank you for your service.
Yeah, especially like I went to State Fair last year. It happened to me like 5-6 times to the point where I try not to wear anything that says Marine because I don't want people to touch me in that type of environment. That's like I really don't even like going, but we go because my family, so I go, but I really don't enjoy those type of environments at all. So you have to be very careful when you come up to veterans, especially when you touch them from where they can't see you. Some veterans, you may get really hurt if you do that.
Thank you, Marlon. But thank you for the call. Now, and your service. If that's.
Oh, well, thank you. Yes. All right. Bye.
Okay. Bye. I don't want to. Well, I can say it over the phone. Civil Rights Act of 1964. I'm going to pause there, come back, giving you guys some legislation or executive orders that were signed that had a measurable impact, positive impact, sometimes an indirect impact on the quality of life for African Americans. And then I'm going to give you all the things that Donald Trump did to intentionally, systematically reverse them. And I'm providing this information because I want you to be clear-eyed about the current version of the Republican Party that intentionally seeks to undo systematically, piece by piece, every bill, every law, and every executive order that had a positive impact on African Americans. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Will be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
In 1987, the Bucks took on the world and changed basketball forever.
At stake, basketball supremacy in the United States.
Bucks versus the World, narrated by Charlie Behrens, is the new season of Behind the Bucks podcast, presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. It's the untold story of the 1987 McDonald's Open, when the Bucks became the first NBA team to face the Soviet Union. Listen now on Bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and wherever you get podcasts.
Life's better with Drive My Way from American Family Insurance, because we know it's more than just a car. It's your escape pod, your adventure mobile, your memory maker. And we help protect the dreams that drive you. Personalize what you pay for auto insurance and you could save between 10 and 35%. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Unsafe driving behaviors may increase your rate. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
It starts with a spark. At Milwaukee College Prep, they nurture that spark from age 3 through 8th grade, building scholars with knowledge, character, and confidence. 88% of their students face economic hardship, but that does not define them. At MCP, they see students' potential, and they help them live up to that potential. 4 campuses, 1 mission. College and beyond, MCP is free, high-performing, and open to all Milwaukee families. Visit MilwaukeeCollegePrep.com to enroll or get involved. That's MilwaukeeCollegePrep.com.
You served behind the desk.
You served in combat.
You did 4 years and got out.
You were drafted.
You gave 20 years.
You gave exactly what your country needed.
And so did you.
When you raised your hand and swore an oath to your country, when you put your name on a dotted line, you became part of only 1% of Americans who did the same. You are a veteran.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran. Because no matter when, where, or how you served, you made a sacrifice for your country, and you deserve support.
If you're struggling with life after service, don't wait. Reach out.
Reach out to a loved one, to a fellow veteran, to VA.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
prizes, exclusive experiences, even cash money. You want it? We've got it. Find a list of all contests and official rules by visiting truthcontests.com. That's truthcontests.com.
Happy kids heal faster, and that's why Starlight is dedicated to improving the mental well-being of sick kids across the U.S. Learn how at starlight.org.
Proud partner of your Milwaukee Bucks. One call, that's all.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
All right. Civil Rights Act of 1964. Title VII Employment Protections. Prohibited employment discrimination broadly across all races. The impact. Major driver of black entry into higher paying occupations in the 60s through the 1980s. Black male wages, because of this 1964 Civil Rights Act, black male wages rose sharply relative to white counterparts during this period. In 1965, Medicaid and Medicare expanded health care access and reduced out-of-pocket costs. The impact, it improved health outcomes, higher workforce participation and earning stability. Desegregated hospitals. Didn't know that. Oh, man, if hospitals were segregated. Well, they say that if you have a nurse that's pro-Trump, she's going to kill you. Oh, I think nurses kill so many people. They kill so many people. When a black woman goes into labor and her nurses and hospital staff are white, her mortality rate and her child's mortality rate goes up exponentially. You can look that one up. I don't know what they're doing, but they're doing something. You ever wonder why black women, and maybe it's poverty, maybe it's a lack of prenatal care, but there's something specific. Like, I think nurses, because we know so little about healthcare. So little. I got to experience it firsthand. Hell, I had gastritis. You guys remember when I passed out on the air? That was a rough day. Now, luckily, I got taken care of. So I was in the ER. I told the story. And then they rushed me to Columbia St. Mary's. I thought I was having a heart attack. I was like, this is very inconvenient. I'm not ready to die today. It's like a Tuesday, too. Like, yeah, who dies on a Tuesday? So I get to Columbia St. Mary's, and I'm in the ER. My parents are there. And, like, elected officials started showing up because I guess when the call went out, they heard it at City Hall because they thought I was having a heart attack, too. So anyways, the president of Columbia St. Mary's, he's a black guy. I had no idea. So he came into the room. He's like, hey, Sherwin, I just want to introduce myself to you. I'm president of Columbia St. Mary's. I was like, oof, what a relief. But you should have seen, because there was a bunch of nurses in the room, just a bunch of people. You know, when you're in the ER, they're milling about and they're sticking stuff to my chest and they've got all the machines going. They're trying to figure out what the hell is wrong with me. Like, the demeanor changed once all the medical and hospital staff saw that I was greeted by the president of the hospital. Now, everybody doesn't get that opportunity. And so here's what I thought. This was probably just before the morphine. I was like, this is great customer service here. That this president of the hospital comes and greets all the patients that get admitted to ICU. And then I was talking to one of my other nurses who I had a total crush on. When did scrubs become form-fitting? You guys remember when nurses wore baggy scrubs? Not no more. They made my healing process go much faster because, jeez Louise, the scrubs they wear are tight. So I asked my nurse, I was like, oh, that's really nice of him. Like, I was like, how does he do it? How does he run a whole hospital and then introduce himself to ICU admittance? She was like, I've never seen that before in my life. She's like, I never even met this dude before. I was like, what? So my health care was, who knows, maybe they would have killed me. Even though I just had a little bit of gastritis. But gastritis untreated. So my stomach lining was inflamed. And it hurts like a son of a biscuit. So that's why I fell out. Ricky freaked out. Zach was crying. Well, Zach thought I was dying. They wheeled me out of here on a stretcher. Through the market hall, no less. Talk about embarrassing. My belly was hanging out. They took my shirt off. Julia Fellows started crying and praying. I was like, it's not that serious, is it? But no, I'm totally fine. I think I took a week off of work, which was stupid. I came back way too fast. So now, just an FYI, I prioritize my health. If I don't feel well, I'm not coming here. Y'all will be perfectly fine. Just to let y'all know, I used to overextend myself. I'm like, no, I gotta go to work. I used to come to work sick and feeling crummy. Hell no. Ha! No, thank you. Because that's just going to make it worse. The Affordable Care Act of 2010 expanded Medicaid and insurance subsidies. The impact it reduced uninsured rates amongst African Americans by over 50%. Improved financial stability by lowering medical debts and indirect income boost to African Americans. And then the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act of 2021 was a large-scale public works spending bill. It increased demand in construction and skilled trades, where black workers are represented, boosted wages in union and public sector-linked jobs. And then the indirect legislative effects, the 1964 Civil Rights Act, federal enforcement against racial discrimination in hiring, pay, and promotion, black wage gains of 10 to 20% in the decade after enforcement intensified, particularly strong in the southern states. The Voting Act of 1965 increased black political participation and representation, led to increased public sector employment and government investment in black communities. Counties with higher black voter registration saw measurable increases in public spending and black income growth. Affirmative action policies in the 1960s through the present via executive orders and federal contracting laws require proactive hiring and inclusion in education and government contracts, increased black representation in professional occupation, government jobs, and a significant contributor to growth of the black middle class from the 70s through the 1990s. The Equal Employment Opportunity Act of 1972 strengthened enforcement and powers of the EEOC, expanded the ability to sue employers for discrimination, accelerated wage convergence between black and white workers. We'll take a break, come back. I'm going to tell you how Donald Trump undid all of that. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for Hour 3.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Come in with straight truth.
If you acted up, if you were out here doing any kind of foolishness or just something that people know would make your family's name look bad, your neighbor from down the street, if they see the son or daughter, be like, what are you doing? They gonna call you out. They gonna let you know that they saw you, and then they gonna tell you, come here. Now you know I'm gonna tell your daddy.
That part.
There are a lot of times when people are new to an area, they don't know where to plug in. And anybody who plugs in the 101.7 The Truth and listen to you and Dame and Truth Nation would know that there is a significant public outcry when violence happens in our community. Don't worry about the outcry if you're not listening to the right people. So I would encourage her to tune in to 101.7 The Truth and listen to you guys, Denise Thomas, Dr. Ken Harris, Tori Lowe, and definitely Sherwin Hughes every day.
Watch all your favorite 1017 The Truth shows by subscribing to 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
People don't realize that glaucoma is one of the leading causes of blindness.
Because there are often no early symptoms, nearly half of those with glaucoma may not even know they have it until vision loss has occurred.
I was diagnosed with normal tension glaucoma in July of 2020.
And what we found out at that point was I had already lost 40% of my sight. You think it only affects people that are, 75 or older, retired, grandparents, and that's not the reality of it.
I didn't think at all glaucoma was going to affect me because I didn't know of anyone that had glaucoma, no one in my family. When you have glaucoma, you can't get back that sight that you lost. And so early detection and treatment is vitally, vitally important.
Don't miss life's most beautiful moments. Schedule an eye exam today.
National Glaucoma Research, a bright, focused foundation program, offers free resources and tips for healthy vision.
Learn how to protect your sight at stopglaucoma.org.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
Nathan has taught me to embrace the moment. Age-wise, I'm in my late 60s. I'm old enough to be his grandfather. Will he be embarrassed to acknowledge me as his dad? I think the most important thing we can do is let them know that they're safe, that they're valued and cared for and loved, and that they're important.
I knew I wanted to be adopted by him because of how he taught me to be the person who I am today. And it's coming from a dad that didn't expect to become a dad, and I feel very proud to be his son.
I was what he needed, and he was what I needed. Every day is full of new opportunities. That's what it's been about, realizing the simple things that it takes to make such a huge difference in these kids' lives.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care at adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
All of your favorite 1017 The Truth content whenever you want. The Truth app has it all. The Truth is on 1017 and 1510 WGKB Waukesha, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Where my music at? My music ain't playing. That's all right. Welcome to Hour 3 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Don't worry about it. Oh, you was going to play some music, Xavier? You could have just beatboxed, I guess.
I guess I could have. I'm pretty
right.
talented at that.
We don't need music. Back in the day, we didn't have no music. We just came right in raw, came in hot. So they're trying to name not trying, they'll probably do it, name a road in Washington County after Charlie Kirk. And I read a couple of quotes earlier in the program, just a few, just to refresh people's memories on how much of a gem Charlie Kirk was. And clearly he's a darling of the conservative movement because flags were ordered to fly at half-staff when he was killed, but flags were not ordered to fly at half-staff when the first American service members' bodies were returned to Andrews Air Force Base after the commencement of this unprovoked attack on Iran. And I wanted people to have a perspective that this is the modern day Confederate monument construction, because history will see it as such, because they're going to look back and be like, wait a minute, why in the year 2026 with all that is going on would they choose to name a street or a road in clearly a very conservative, very Republican Washington County after Charlie Kirk? And then someone in history will make the connection of like, wow, that is like erecting a Confederate monument 10 years after we had a movement. It's like a whole summer, that summer of 2016. That was when Heather Heyer was killed. Bet you haven't heard that name in a while. This dude just rams through a crowd of people, injures people, kills Heather Heyer because they wanted to take down. This is in Charlottesville, Virginia. People gathered to take down a Confederate monument, which if you live in a city and there's a public display of tyranny, treason, white supremacy, and racism, the people that live in that town own the public spaces. And if they want a monument taken down, there's a proper way to do things. You can write your legislators, you can talk to your city council people, and if they don't move with decisive action to remove that statue, then the people should take it down. And they did. I thought that was a great turning point in America, because I couldn't even imagine living in a town where you had Confederate monuments just staring at you every single day, towering over you so that you never forget what they stood for. In Wisconsin, it's a little bit different because we have Civil War monuments and statues too, but they're all Union dudes. You know, the Union went down south and shot the people. The Southerners didn't really come up here. Did you guys notice that? We took the heat to them. We fought them. We went to their house and shot them in the face and won. How embarrassing for the South. Imagine somebody coming from Iowa shooting you in the face in Georgia. That's a long way. How'd they get there? There was train? Well, whatever. So they're trying to name the street after Charlie Kirk. And then I had to give an opposing viewpoint. It took 40 years to name from Capitol Drive in Milwaukee South to Wisconsin Avenue, Martin Luther King Drive. And there was about a 5, maybe 6 block stretch from McKinley to Wisconsin that was called Old World 3rd Street because the businesses located on that small corridor did not want to rename or didn't want Martin Luther King Jr. Drive to represent their address. And so they said, we're going to be called Old World 3rd Street. It took 40 years, 38 years to be exact, for us to complete the name change. But Charlie Kirk will likely have a street in Washington County. Probably by next month, I'd imagine the council will vote. Now, 16 of the 21 council members in Washington County will have to vote. It's going to cost about $50,000. And Josh Showman, who is the county executive of Washington County, said, well, $50,000 is a hefty dollar amount and the taxpayers shouldn't be on the hook for it. So they're going to be soliciting private donations, and I guarantee they get that $50,000 to rename that street in Washington County. But just to compare the two, to compare Dr. King and Charlie Kirk, where it took almost 40 years to rename just 3rd Street after Martin Luther King. And it's ironic because conservatives love to quote Dr. Martin Luther King as an example of black passivity. Why are you black people so violent? They'll say Dr. King got punched in the face. Basically, they're saying you should let me punch you in your black face too because Dr. King didn't fight back. Just know when they quote Dr. King, it's not because he had great strategy. It wasn't because he was exceptionally political in his agenda. He was passive. He didn't fight back. There's not a single photograph of Dr. King punching a white man in the face. Because if there was, I'd get a T-shirt. There's not a single photograph. And there's a lot of pictures of Dr. King. He's in many movies, many documentaries, many videos, many Eyes on the Prize. They still run that show, the documentary Eyes on the Prize. It's very good. It's touching. It's black people marching and walking and organizing. But not a single photograph. I'll punch you in your nose. You take one more step, Jethro. I'll show you what these hands will do. I would love to see that. I would get so hyped if I saw Dr. King punch somebody in the face. Because think about it. Some white people deserved to get punched in the face. Do you know that they denied him a concealed carry permit? He applied because he used to get threatened a lot. He got threatened more than we know. And ultimately, somebody made good on the threat. But they denied Dr. King a handgun permit. That's racism. Because he had the right to defend himself. Imagine if Dr. King had what would be his gun of choice if you had to guess? .357 Magnum. I got this Magnum for that ass. Take one more step. I'll show you what this chrome do. I'll put this chrome to your dome. All right, here we go. What else we got? I don't want to miss anything because there's a lot of legislation and a lot of executive orders, and I don't want any of that stuff to go overlooked. But for black people, no matter what was done, and here's what I'm starting to see about us. No matter what was done, no matter what legislation that was passed, in a bipartisan fashion, because none of the stuff that I read was just Democrats or just Republicans that worked together, which means it's possible. But no matter what was done in history, it's not enough for us. It isn't enough. More should have been done. We need more money, more investment, more. We don't even look at, because what I think happened was we'd identify a barrier. The barrier would be eliminated or reduced, and that allows us to take another step on the ladder. Then as we go up in status and stature, we find another barrier where the racism is a little more shrouded, a little more hidden, and we uncover another barrier as we move through the American system. And then there's legislation to address that. And then we're supposed to take another step up the ladder. I think that we stop those incremental steps, finding where the system blocks us, working together, organizing, voting, running for office, supporting candidates that are going to eliminate this barrier, or at least introduce legislation to talk about or discuss the barrier, or get a study or get a consultant to say, hey, there's some things that are actually holding African Americans back municipally and in a county, in a state, in federal legislation. Like, we've stopped those incremental steps. I think we've gotten to a point where we want the government to do everything for us. We don't want that. We really don't. We want to be able to do for ourselves. We want to be able to realize our full potential and our full dreams without the government or institutional racism or structural racism holding us back. That's the key. Not do everything for us. That's no good. And socialism ain't the answer. Because even if you look at places where capitalism isn't either, capitalism will ultimately lead to really powerful people where power and money is concentrated in certain people's hands. What socialism, and it's always going to lead to this. There's no perfect economic system or political modality. So socialism will be, the state will then have too much power, too much say-so over our lives. But if you are black, you're screwed in either scenario. So black people that have fantasies of thinking that socialism or democratic socialism is going to be our savior, that is insane, because we live in a nation that was built on white supremacy. So even if we switch to democratic socialism, even Bernie Sanders fell short. He's like, oh, it's about economic inequality. Correct, it is Bernie, but because he was never surrounded by, never hired, never promoted any black staff. And why would he? He's from Vermont. There's no black people in Vermont. So he never got black people's perspectives on our lives. He always just looked at economic inequality, which absolutely is a part of it. But if you don't look at race in a real surgical, nuanced kind of way, even Bernie Sanders' democratic socialism would not have paid dividends to black people. Now, he would mention us, but he didn't look at race as an entirely separate concept, to where even if we had more democratic, socialist, egalitarian policies, you still can discriminate against black people there too. Affirmative action policies in the 1960s through the present via executive orders and federal contracting laws require proactive hiring and inclusion in education and government contracts, and increased black representation in professional occupations and government jobs. The Community Reinvestment Act of 1977 required banks to lend to black communities. They had to make banks lend us money. Not give us money, borrow us money that we would pay back. Like, we'd have collateral, and the banks were like, nah. It increased access to credit for black entrepreneurs and homeowners and supported small business formation and wealth building. The Equal Employment Opportunity Act of 1972 strengthened enforcement and powers of the EEOC. The Minority Business Development Act of 2021, didn't even know this existed. Formalized federal support for minority-owned businesses, expanded access to capital contracts and technical assistance, directly targets income growth through business ownership. Is this the one Kamala was talking about? She's going to run for president again in 2028, by the way. She's not going to get the nomination also, by the way. The American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, that one paid off. There's money flying from the skies because of that one. Direct payments expanded, the child tax credit, unemployment benefits temporarily reduced black poverty rate to historic lows. Increased disposable income significantly for lower income black households. It also led to a lot of inflation because we were printing money while there was next to zero American productivity, but we were printing money. That was when everybody was getting the stimmies. I think the intention was good, and it did reduce black poverty substantially, but the reduction in black poverty was offset by the increased price of goods, which still have not gone down, by the way. Just inflation has been somewhat lessened. Well, it's about to go up again because we're in a war. when George W. Bush deregulated home loans, which ultimately led to predatory lending and the home foreclosure crisis, the intention was good because at that time, it was still a glaring disparity that even a Republican like George W. Bush couldn't ignore, that African Americans had really low levels of home ownership. So they basically said, we're going to deregulate mortgage lending. And some of y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. You worked at a damn daycare and bought a $350,000 house in Menominee Falls on stated income. And you could do it because you would just write down how much your income was, even though that wasn't your income, because there was no income verification. This is why taking regulations away can be very, very dangerous. And then you could structure your loan to where it was interest only. So if you got a $350,000 house and you're paying interest only on an adjustable rate mortgage, let's say for 3 or 4 years, you might be paying $600-700 a month for 3 or 4 years, for 3 to 5 years rather, on your adjustable rate mortgage. That's not bad for a $350,000 house in Menominee Falls. But then when your adjustable rate mortgage matures after either 3 or 5 years, your payment would then go up to $28,000, $29,000, $3,000 a month. But here's what everybody did. They went and got their houses, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 houses, all of which got foreclosed on. They got their mortgages with stated income. They were paying interest only on their mortgage loans, so not principal and interest, just interest and then their property tax escrow, which was a lot less than what folks were paying for rent at the time. And now they had these big old beautiful houses. And they all collectively said, so when my mortgage rate goes up, my adjustable rate mortgage matures, and I got to pay the $28,000, $29,000, $3,000 a month, I'll just put my house on the market and sell it and make a quick lick. Well, everybody put their damn houses on the market at the same time and there were no buyers. And what Wall Street did is they took advantage of the fact that all of these people were now getting mortgages. Everybody was getting a mortgage. People that had no business buying a house bought a house. They weren't prepared. They didn't have the financial literacy. They didn't have the discipline. And they didn't have the income because you have to have enough money to pay your mortgage when that payment explodes in 3 or 5 years, because there's no guarantee you're going to be able to sell your house. But then that also leads back to people not having financial literacy. That's when you started seeing all these conversations about financial fluency and financial literacy, because the home foreclosure crisis was based on people's lack of knowledge of the mortgage industry. Wall Street knows that one of the safest investments is called a mortgage-backed security. There's one thing that Americans do better than probably anything else. It's not stay married. It's pay our mortgages on time. Like 90% every single month, unless there's major economic collapse, Americans pay their mortgages every single month on time at a tune of 90%. And so what Wall Street did is they work with the banks, because the banks have money coming in every single month because everybody's paying their mortgages. So Wall Street was like, look, if we know that there's cash coming in every single month, then 90% of people that own their homes at any given time are paying their mortgages and paying them on time, we can then take that money that is coming in to the banks at a 90% clip every single month and package it into other investments. And everybody's income is going to go up because now you have this constant influx of guaranteed cash every single month that Wall Street could play with and make riskier investments, et cetera, et cetera. But when people stop paying their mortgages, the entire ecosystem collapses. And that is precisely what happened, and it led to the worst home foreclosure crisis in American history. A little bit of background information there for you. All right. Direct rollbacks of race-conscious civil rights policies. 2025 executive order called Ending Illegal Discrimination and Restoring Merit-Based Opportunity. Revoked executive order 11246 from 1965. Trump went back 60 years to roll back. So all the things I've been naming for the last 30 minutes, legislation, executive orders, etc., that have shown measurable improvement in African American health care, professional employment, income, and quality of life, Donald Trump rolled them back systematically one by one, going back to executive orders and bills that were signed in the 1960s. Revoked executive order 11246 from the Lyndon Johnson affirmative action era. which required contractors to take affirmative action to hire and promote minorities. Donald Trump eliminated it. He eliminated requirements for affirmative action plans, federal oversight of contractor hiring practices, and contractors no longer had to require or demonstrate progress in minority hiring. Donald Trump eliminated affirmative action requirements for federal contractors, Part 2. Decades of federal enforcement of infrastructure tied to the Civil Rights Act enforcement, the Equal Employment Opportunity Act of 1972 were all rolled back by Donald Trump. It weakened one of the primary enforcement mechanisms behind black wage gains for 30 years between 1960 and 1990. It curtailed the authority of enforcement bodies like the compliance offices. He eliminated all those positions through DOGE. Termination of federal DEI programs and offices. Federal diversity, equity, and inclusion programs across agencies. What prior agencies these extended: Civil Rights Act enforcement infrastructure, affirmative action era policies, minority business development frameworks. Shut down all DEI offices, canceled all equity-related grants and contracts, eliminated every race-conscious training and hiring initiative, and pause there, come back, continue on the other side. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, Gruber Law Offices and The Truth have raised the stakes for this year. The One Call, That's All Gruber Cash giveaway is now a $5K giveaway. Yes, you heard it right. $5,000 giveaway. Every weekday on 1017 The Truth, you will have the chance to be entered to win the $5K giveaway. Listen to The Truth for the One Call, That's All cue to call for your chance to win $5,000. Gruber Law Offices, One Call, That's All. Visit 1017thetruth.com for official contest rules.
Our children deserve a real chance to make it in life, and a good education is a passport to opportunity. At City Ford Collective, we're working to make sure there's a great Milwaukee school for every Milwaukee family, because more good options lead to better outcomes. And who doesn't want that? Together, we can give every child the foundation they need to thrive, and a stronger future for kids means a stronger future for Milwaukee. To learn more about our mission, visit us at cityfordcollective.org. That's cityfordcollective.org.
Calling all seafood lovers, the lobster salad sub is officially back at Cousin Subs. Fresh lobster mixed with our creamy signature mayo, topped with tomato and onion, served over crisp lettuce, and finished with a sprinkle of Old Bay. All on our fresh-baked Italian bread. It's a crave-worthy classic you can enjoy in store, online, or on the app, but only through April 5th. So catch it while you can. Cousin Subs. We believe in better.
Tacos and Tequila Festival, Saturday, May 30th at Franklin Field, featuring live performances by Shaggy, Rick Ross, Genuine, Soulja Boy, Frankie J, Mims, and more. There will be craft margaritas, Milwaukee's best taco vendors, authentic lucha libre wrestling, an exotic car showcase, a Chihuahua beauty pageant, art installations, and so much more. Tacos and Tequila Festival, Saturday, May 30th. Get your tickets at tacoandtequilafestival.com.
70 million people in the U.S. have learning and thinking differences, like ADHD and dyslexia. Each has their own story. This is ours. At first, I thought it was just a phase. Then schoolwork became a struggle. Emotions got bigger, and my kids started falling behind. I felt alone, like I was lost in the dark trying to find answers. Then I learned about Understood.org, a nonprofit empowering parents and kids like us. It was like we had a light to show us the path ahead. Whenever new challenges came up, their guidance helped us figure out our next step. We still have tough days, but now we have direction. And I have the tools and resources I need to help my child thrive. No matter where you are on the path, Understood can help you keep moving forward. Visit understood.org/yourpath today.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Sherwin speak facts, let the real talk begin. Mind like a weapon, every word cut clean. Your host's favorite host, the mic, God supreme. No one match the brain, no one match the vibe. Milwaukee truth teller, yeah, we feel that pride. When the people need sense, he the one they call. Sherwin Hughes on the line, that's power, y'all. He the voice of the people, heart of the town. Every take heavy, he ain't messing around. No fluff, no gimmicks, no tap dance show. He dropped 10 years game in a 4-minute flow. Got the city on his mind.
Trump reversed all these executive orders. I could see if black people reached parity or were doing better than our other counterparts, but we aren't. So how do you... I want to hear them justify it. You know, the ones that think he's making America great again. But to a large cohort of people, I don't know if we see this because I think black folks, part of our culture is we believe that everyone knows how bad we were hurt. Because they were responsible, we think that they know how they were responsible, and they don't. There's a lot that we don't know. There's more that they don't know. And so because we have not reached social equilibrium in this country, so some of them think that we have, because, oh, you had a black president, and there's black people that make a bunch of money. The biggest advantage I think we have is we weren't on Epstein Island. We knew how to avoid that. That don't mean that we didn't do bad stuff on this island, but we just didn't go to that one. But because, you know, white people who were guaranteed success, even if that success meant they had to harm other people, steal other people's land, do a bunch of murdering and raping and human trafficking and blah, 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 then that's what it took for them to be successful. And then the moment that the economy is not meeting and exceeding their needs, then they begin to take things away from other groups that had it worse than them. So, there's affirmative action policies that's designed to help black people, and there's, you know, new rules when it comes to federal contracting, and the federal contractors have to make decisions and have to take affirmative action to make sure that they are being fair in their hiring process. Well, we don't want any of that, because why would we want to help the black people? We're struggling too. We're suffering too. And to Mao that said, we haven't tried socialism, I think you live in a fantasy land of what you believe socialism is. We do have in this country socialized medicine and socialized healthcare, even socialized wages. If you can't work, if you are disabled, we're going to take care of you. If you can't eat, if you can't feed your family, there are things you can apply for locally, statewide, and federally. I don't pick up my own garbage. I put it at the end of the street in a big plastic bin, none of which I paid for. My garbage removal is socialized. If my neighbor sets their house on fire, which has happened twice, my neighbors that live behind me have had 2 house fires in the 22 years I've been in my house. And it's very upsetting because I watch the embers jump over the fence. I'm thinking to myself, if my house burns down, I would not be happy. I don't put out my own fires. We have socialized fire extinguisher people that have big trucks. I don't fight my own crime. Sometimes, but then I call the 911s and they send somebody a couple of days later to fight the crime. We got socialized law enforcement. If you don't own a house, well, I guess even if you do, you can send your kids to public schools without additional tuition. That's socialized education. So we do have, and there's a whole bunch of other policies, but I think the kind of socialism that you may be thinking of, Mao, we're not going to have it here in this country. It's why we have a 20% donut hole in Medicare. You know why that is? Because the compromise was because Republicans and conservatives never wanted black people to get health care. You ever wonder why they've been so against health care, even though their own constituents, white conservative folks in rural areas, they don't have health care either? You ever wonder why? Just stop for a second and think why Republicans have been so against Obamacare and affordable health care and free health care. It was first proposed like 115 years ago. I think Woodrow Wilson might have been the first president, somewhere. Woodrow Wilson, Calvin Coolidge, one of them old-timey presidents. You know, the ones that talk like this. Yeah, see? That's what we're going to do. We're going to give them health care. Indeed, indeed, indeed. The only reason why it doesn't exist is because Caucasian members of the House of Representatives and the Senate didn't want black people to get health care at all. So no one got it. When you look at European countries, this is where Bernie Sanders got it wrong. He's, oh, they do this over here in Sweden. They do it in Norway. Yeah, those are 99% white countries. When you have a country that is homogeneously white people do stuff for one another. I don't know if you guys know that. When you have a country that's like all blonde and fair skinned, the countries where they're allergic to the sun, those countries. Of course they have free college and free healthcare. They're doing stuff for other white people. If those same countries were 30%, 25%, 15% non-white, they would not have free college because they don't want those minorities to have the same opportunities as the majority. That's how the world is run. That's the reason why we don't have it over here. It's purely because of racism. That is why I got to do my level best to explain and demystify racism, because people are wondering why they don't have anything, why they can't get anything. It's because we as black people are hated so much, white people are suffering. But you can go back to slavery. The institution of slavery undermined white wages and created a class of white poverty that still exists to this day. Because if you can buy and sell black people, then you're not hiring a white person and paying them a wage. Why would you do that? Why would you have people that you own and then pay somebody? No, I own my labor. I'm not going to pay additional people money out of my pocket. And slaves were very expensive. They were a luxury item. I just hope they don't bring slavery back now, because it wouldn't just be black people. If a white person is poor enough, like really down on their luck, you know what I'm saying? Like they're in trouble. Got a bunch of bills due, home got foreclosed on, they're homeless. If I said to this white person, just think about this for a second. Hey, white. They'll say, yes, sir. I'll give you $5,000 a month, come live with me. But do all of my work. You think they'd say no? That's $5,000 a month. I was like, yeah, I'll Venmo it to you every the 30th of every month. But you got to plant my garden, do my laundry, wash my Tesla, clean my gutters. You think they would? Yes, they would do that. But well, I guess they could leave. No, they couldn't. I wouldn't let them leave. Wages are a form of slavery. If somebody has to work 60 hours a week to make ends meet and you can't spend time with your family, you can't participate in community activities, you don't have time because you have to work so much, that still is a form of slavery we just don't recognize. I'm going to take a break, come back. We'll talk to someone that, I think you know who's on hold. Someone who's going to brighten up your day. They're going to have some very inspirational commentary, I'm sure. And maybe even a prayer. Because, all of us sinners need it. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
Milwaukee, this is the night you don't want to miss. Thanalysis Live is back, March 27th at the Riverside Theater in downtown Milwaukee. You never know who's going to step on stage. Thanalysis has shocked the crowd in past years with surprise appearances by Giannis and Stephen A. Smith. This year, Ric Flair headlines Thanalysis Live. The WWE legend, the Hall of Famer, the Nature Boy. You know there will be plenty of surprises. Friday night, March 27th at the Riverside Theater. Lock in your tickets now. TALiveshow.com. That's TALiveshow.com.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer, providing equal employment, development, and advancement opportunities to all teammates and applicants. To learn more about careers with us, please send an email to talentacquisition@goodkarmabrands.com. That's talentacquisition@goodkarmabrands.com.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other. Leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, Teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
Dad's gonna be far side, good.
What should I do with my dress?
Do little wiggles. The slate's coming in.
What does it feel like when you're down or having a bad day?
It feels sad, like you just don't want to do anything.
All my little emotions in my head is just running crazy. I don't know what to do.
As a teacher or coach, do you ever feel overwhelmed supporting kids' mental health?
I had never experienced players being so down that they can't even participate.
He's just in tears in the huddle. I didn't know what to do.
Teachers need tons of help.
Kids Mental Health Foundation offers educational materials to help guide conversations with our students.
It's so important that we are constantly educating ourselves.
It's the same as the CPR class to me. We're trying to save a life here.
The Kids Mental Health Foundation has free tools and information developed by experts because kids' mental health starts with all of us. Scan the QR code or check out kidsmentalhealthfoundation.org to get started.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Sherwin on the mic, better tune in now. Milwaukee Flame, he be holding it down. Best in the biz, put respect on the name. Whole nation know he ahead of the game. Sherwin on the mic, better tune in.
These are all intros from the cutting room floor. I had a whole bunch of intros that I was experimenting with, and we ultimately settled on. I don't even know what my intro sounds like. I never listened to it. When my intro is playing, when my show starts at 9:00, I think we go hot at 9:02 or something like that. I have no idea what's going on. Bailey and Homer, I'm talking to them because they're walking out of the studio, or Bailey or Homer and Dame. So they're walking out. I debrief with them, ask them how the show went, what topics stuck, and then we just gab a little bit. And then I gotta set up all the stuff you see. You guys can't see it. Actually, what can you guys see? Let me see. Oh, you only see 2 of my 3 monitors. So I got a monitor over here, which is my call screen. I got the one in front of my face, which has all my stories and my articles and my Charlie Kirk quotes. And then I have the stack over here, which you can't see. So I got to sign in to all my emails and get everything all ready. So while my intro was playing, I just look at the time, how much time I have left on this little clock. I know when my intro is winding down, 3, 2, 1, then the music stops and I turn my mic on. So I don't even know what intro is playing. Let's talk to Al. You're on 1017 The Truth. How are you?
I'm doing fine. With everything with all this racism, it's a sad case. And, unfortunately, we have a lot of sick puppies. Like back in the day in Mississippi when some of the people was doing so much stuff with the animals, they came out with extra legs, extra finger, long nose, and tails and stuff. But they don't really talk about it that much.
Wait, hang on.
But to be honest,
wait. So, can you explain that to me? What you just said?
Way back in the day in Mississippi, they was messing around with some of the animals and stuff so much that they had some families that was coming out with tails and extra legs and long noses and stuff. Because, back at that time, they was messing with the animals and they was messing with the pigs and they was messing with the sheep. Because, some of the farmers used to mess with the sheep because they look like women down there. That's not us. But anyway, what I was saying is I still think black people just need to find their strength and turn it into wealth and continue to build their empire because they always had the answer. They just never act on it because a lot of times they care what people think. But when you look at Dr. King, I feel Dr. King probably had a lot of finesse, but I couldn't really see him being a fighter. But when I think about good old Tennessee Jack Daniels whiskey, then I could see Dr. King. I could see him cutting somebody with a rusty butcher knife, because we know if you cut somebody with a rusty butcher knife, they're going to get gangrene. Or if you take a meat cleaver, because they was using meat cleavers, big old heavy meat cleavers back then, if you wrap that meat cleaver in your poop and go across their face, they're going to get a real bad infection from the poop that marinated into that meat cleaver, okay? And then I also thought about that empty whiskey bottle that they used to break on the concrete and say, "Come on, B," and they pour that salt over it. And then if you go back and forth across their face, they're going to either be looking like Freddy Krueger or they're going to be looking like a woman vagina lips by the face. Really, it's real swollen, because you know how some of them lips look when they real wore out and been under a lot of pressure. Educational purposes only. Their face is going to be sagging like wore out woman vagina lips. But I couldn't really see Dr. King, being no fighter. And then the other thing I thought is, if Dr. King really wanted to get down and dirty, and he probably just was trying to be a different person, they could have been taking them German Shepherds and breaking their legs and throwing them on the grill and serving it back to them, and taking them water hoses and putting around their necks like bow ties, you know what I mean? But I just think during that time he was just trying to be a bigger person. And we don't want to bring up the jumper cable, because, the jumper cables can do some damage if you pour a lot of garlic powder over it. That garlic powder and some of that lemon juice, because lemon stings. Now just imagine if them jumper cables hit you with that lemon powder, your whole body gonna swell up, just like if you're retaining water or you got an overactive thyroid problem. But anyway, I just wanted to share that information. We already got the answers and the questions to this, but that's all we got to do is keep moving forward. We don't got to worry about all that stuff. But I wanted to tell you, too, if y'all coming down east on Capitol, right where you get to the light on 35th, where you're going to see some red bricks, it's a humongous pothole, and every time you hit it, you're looking at about 9 to 1,500. You said a control arm and ball joint that's gonna have that tire bow-legged, looking like it's pulling to the left, like it's slightly cross-eyed on the right. But I just wanted to let y'all know that if you go down that street, be careful, because we have a lot of potholes, and I think probably the reason why we got all these potholes is because the money is going to dope. Just like if you can't find no silver spoons in the house because they burning up all the spoons, that money is going to crack. And if they look real rough by the face and they say they don't eat, that's because the cocaine ate up the stomach lining. And if they really always be having sinus problems, that's because the cocaine then ran through their nostrils like I-94 and I-43. So I just want to share that information with you. But y'all have yourself a good day. Y'all already got the answer. So take care, y'all.
All right, then. Thank you so much.
Do you think he comes up with that off the top of his head, or
100%
and thinks about it?
No, it's some of it are recurring themes. This was new though. Different murder weapons and how to create infection. So that's pretty dangerous.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Is he sitting there thinking about that, or?
We don't promote violence here. Unless it's to distract from pedophilia. Then we'll go to war. But other than that, we don't like the violence. Unless it has something to do with oil. Then yes. We don't like violence unless, hold on, we don't like the outcome of an election. Then, duh. So yeah, we don't like violence generally, unless Joe Biden cheated. Apparently, you know what's crazy? You would think that the election and re-election of Barack Obama is when people cheated to get a black president. Like, that's when you would think, like, oh, there must have been voter fraud. There must have been black people voting 2 and 3 times to get a black president elected and then re-elected. But, like, nah, Obama's election was fair. But boy, oh boy, did we cheat to get Joe Biden elected. If I'm going to cheat, it's not going to be for Joe Biden. You know what I'm saying? That's the wildest thing. There's no way Joe Biden won that election. He totally won. I'm not saying that we cheated to elect Barack Obama, but wouldn't they be more angry at the electoral process if the black guy won? That just went off without a hitch. You're like, oh, he ran a good campaign.
Wouldn't you say society's significantly more brain rotted now compared to then?
No, I just think the people that are brain rotted have amplified their voices. And the brain rot is not political. Because we got people on the left with blue hair and pierced septums that are just as insane as the people on the right. I'm going to take a break, come back, grab some phone calls, I guess. I swear I didn't get through all the information on today's show. Well, don't worry, we'll get through it tomorrow. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Get the beat of the Bucks straight from a fan favorite and Bucks legend.
Welcome to the fantastic voyage. Marcus Johnson, the captain of this vessel.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson, a Bucks Plus audio production.
My first mate, Chris Johnson, the only father and son tandem.
Your weekly pulse on the Milwaukee Bucks and conversations with the biggest names in basketball. This week on the pod, Marcus and Chris talk to senior writer for ESPN's Handscape, Mark Spears. Find Here District now on Bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, or wherever you get your podcast.
Life's better with American Family Insurance because we know you love working weekends. If it means working on your dream home, both inside and out. And we're here to help protect those dreams so you can enjoy peace of mind. Save up to 40% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Some exclusions apply. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Tacos and Tequila Festival, Saturday, May 30th at Franklin Field, featuring live performances by Shaggy, Rick Ross, Genuine, Soulja Boy, Frankie J, Mims, and more. There will be craft margaritas, Milwaukee's best taco vendors, authentic lucha libre wrestling, an exotic car showcase, a Chihuahua beauty pageant, art installations, and so much more. Tacos and Tequila Festival, Saturday, May 30th. Get your tickets at tacoandtequilafestival.com.
Do you hear that? And that? And that? Those are the sounds of a healthy and vibrant community. And to this United Way volunteer, nothing sounds better. They're the sounds of children being given greater chances to succeed in school. The sounds of neighbors receiving the support needed to overcome challenges, both big and small. They're the sounds of families gaining access to quality health care and nutritious food for their tables. And they're the sounds of members of our community who've benefited from United Way's financial education programs. See, wherever there's a need in our communities, there's a United Way. People working together to respond and growing the good for everyone. United is the way. So join us by getting involved or giving back. Learn more at unitedway.org.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Happy kids heal faster, and that's why Starlight is dedicated to improving the mental well-being of sick kids across the U.S. Learn how at starlight.org.
Gruber Law Offices, a proud partner of your Milwaukee Bucks.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Thanalysis Live, one of the biggest nights in Wisconsin sports, and we don't want anyone to miss out. You buy one ticket and ESPN Wisconsin is going to buy the other. Be there for the night that will have everybody talking on March 27th. Thanalysis Live is a completely unpredictable show with Thanasis Antetokounmpo and surprise guests. Were you there when Stephen A. Smith joined or when Bobby Portis brought down the house? Where were you sitting when Giannis walked on stage? Thanalysis Live is can't miss. TALiveshow.com is where you get your tickets and enter code ESPNWIBOGO for buy one, get one. That's ESPNWIBOGO when you check out. That's ESPNWIBOGO. The stars will be out. Woo! And you should too. Buy one and get one free Thanalysis Live tickets March 27th at the Riverside Theater. TAShowlive.com. All right, let's talk to. Hello, Alan. How can I help you today?
Hi, sir. How are you?
I'm all right.
Good morning.
Good morning. What's on your mind?
Yeah. Oh man, there's so much going on around here. I got in trouble. I got yelled at. My wife. We rarely argue, man. I mean, usually I just let her because I don't want to say something mean to her, which is weird because I don't give a dang about nobody else. But she got really mad at me, man. Guess what about?
She caught you cheating.
Yeah, listening to you when I thought I was going to do something else.
So wait, your wife got mad that you were listening to my show?
Hardcore mad. She just told me. She felt like I was cheating. Like I was being dishonest. In fact, she told me, you should go be with Sherwin. And I said, I'm going to ask him because if I was gonna, you're more like me than anybody I've ever met. Could you imagine the fires we'd light if we skipped around town holding hands?
Wait, me?
That would be intense, my friend.
And you? No. You better go make up with your wife. You ain't holding my hand.
Oh, I already did. But she was so mad at me. She told me she gets mad about things because I don't even know what. If I give you all my time anyway, what am I going to do? I got to have a hobby, right? I can only argue with these developers and go to court so many times a week.
So hang on a second, Alan. Your wife, why would she get mad that you were listening to my show?
Because I was supposed to be doing something else, according to her. I could have been taking her shopping.
Is she there right now? I want to talk to her.
No, she's not here right now. You can talk. I'll tell you what. We'll come in one day when we're downtown.
No.
And you can just talk.
No, because we don't do the coming in anymore. We got rules against that. Why don't we start
you can't even wave? No, remember when you were over on...
I want to talk to her.
You used to be over there on... You don't want to talk to you. I can't express this in any more simple way.
Why does your wife not like me?
She don't like the show, I guess. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you why because I'm not going to say some of the stuff she says. I can't.
No, yes, you can. Absolutely.
No, I won't because you twist it around and make it sound like I'm saying that stuff, and I'm not. If I didn't like you, I wouldn't listen to this stuff. Believe me.
This is, since you won't let me talk to her and ask her directly why she doesn't like me or my show.
She doesn't agree with a lot of your views.
Because she's very conservative, right? She's a Trumper.
That's part of it, but the rest of it has to do with how she was raised. I mean, it's not me.
Okay.
I know all this stuff and I know why. But she don't have no sympathy for. She don't have no sympathy for stereotypically, but to the far end of whatever bad can happen to you, in the inner city.
So, okay, and she married you, a former white nationalist guy.
Out of the blue, we met, and it was one of those things where to this day it can't be explained.
How did you meet her, Alan?
Because I love her so much that I let her talk to me in ways I wouldn't even imagine somebody else doing. But and I even go behind her back. I don't lie to her. I really don't lie ever. But her, I always tell her the truth. And the one thing I do is I like the ladies. That I'll say hi to them and maybe flirt, I guess. And they like it, and I like it. But I think it's harmless. But she takes that like serious.
Yeah,
She's
women don't.
You want to go be with her? Then go be with her. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Be with someone. Being nice to the lady at the dang drive-in window.
Alan, I'm sorry. Did you explain to us how you met your wife? If you did, I missed it.
I already told you. I was shopping at the. I was buying my mom a gift. I was up here at the time. I still lived out in Racine. I was up here at the mall, the Mayfair, and I went to the Macy's. I had to buy my mom some perfume. She likes the same. She likes that Chanel, right? The original, the real one. So or the go-to. So I go up there. And I'm walking through, and they kind of knew me up there from buying stuff. And I saw this woman at the thing, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, she was drop-dead gorgeous. But the crazy thing is she's prettier now. And I got up all my nerve. And I'm not too shy, but she's so pretty that it boggles my mind even now when I wake up and look at her. I'm like, oh, my God. But I walked up there and I said, hey, how are you? You know, nice to see you. I said, I don't even remember what we did. But the small talk started, and we exchanged phone numbers. Like, would you mind if I called you sometime? We should go out.
How long ago was this?
And I remember that. She gave me her number.
When did you meet her?
But almost 18 years ago, right around 18 years ago, I believe.
Where's your first date?
We went to go see, we went to a restaurant, and we ended up having a problem there. And it was one of them restaurants down on, I forget which one, like a chain burger place on 76th Street. You know, you go down, you get towards the south side, and then they got the Outback. And you know what I'm talking about. So we went somewhere, and it was one of them days
you went to
where
Red
they just
Robin?
didn't have anybody there. Red Robin, is that on the east? No, Red Robin is halfway decent for a burger. But it's down in that, it's on the...
So you don't remember where you went for your first date?
Hell, no, I don't. Not exactly. It was a bad experience.
Okay.
Because the person was really rude, and I had to go. She didn't really know what I'm like if somebody's rude, and we just never went back. You know, I told them keep the money, whatever. And I'm just kidding. I don't want. They didn't bring us the right food. I just paid for it and got the blank out. How long did you date
before you got married? Not long, right?
Well, pretty long. Probably because I wouldn't stay up here because of my beliefs and all this and that. And then she was fostering the kids we adopted at the time. So probably.
But you didn't stay where because of your beliefs? In Milwaukee?
I wouldn't stay overnight. I'm not going to stay overnight with a woman if I'm not married.
Oh. Well, good for you.
I mean, that for real. I stand on that. I mean, for real, I do.
All right.
Just like we prayed before we go. I was on that so-called conservative station once with that liar fake Dan O'Donnell.
How long were you together before you got married?
Probably 18 months.
Okay.
Roughly.
Big wedding, small wedding, courthouse wedding.
I was still working.
Alan, you give us so much unnecessary detail because I got to be mindful of the people that are listening that don't care about the Correct, but I want you to just actually answer. How long? So you were dated for 18 months. Where'd you go on your honeymoon? Did you have a honeymoon?
We went down to a friend of mine. We went down to a place in Puerto Vallarta.
Okay, tell me about the wedding.
Went to Hawaii.
Big wedding, small wedding, courthouse wedding?
No, small. Nobody was going to come. She don't have no family. And I wasn't going to, I'm not dealing with that nonsense. There was a lot of people I ain't going to relive all that because it involved my dad, and I had to go through it. I didn't talk to him for quite a while.
Your dad didn't like that you married a black girl?
He didn't like, that was pretty much it. But then he realized in a moment that it's better than my sister marrying a drunk who took all her money. But a cop, by the way. And then he would never, I remember the day I met him, my mother said to him, she said, the guy told my mom at my mother's house, he's like, stewed out of his mind. And he says, he said my mom's name, Bertha. And my dad seen my eyes pop. And Ty even is like, I never saw you like that before, Alan. And I said, and my mother said to him, she said, beggars don't be choosers in my house. And then my daddy said, boy, can you take him? And remember, this guy was a sheriff. I'm like, well, Pop, yes. And I give him a swinging roundhouse, but I was wearing house shoes, so it didn't do the full damage. But then he looked at me and I said, man, you want to get to it? Let's do it, Jack.
What's going on?
You insulted my mom. I'm becoming somebody else. I'm sorry. I see that guy again. But anyway, then what happened? I don't know. What do you want to know? Then she was up here, and I was like, I wanted to go. I got a place somewhere. And I said, no, so once we got married, we were going to stay. We stay up here. We stayed here because it's so close to our job.
Perfect. Well, and my show is actually over, though. So thank you for telling us.
But we're kicking it, man. What I was going to tell you, you know what we should do sometime?
My show is, no, we shouldn't. My show actually is. But it's over.
Let's celebrate our birthday. Okay, we're not even on the air. Let's celebrate our birthdays together next year, man.
Did he say we weren't on the air? I'm sorry, everybody. Goodbye. I'll see you next time.
Straight truth.
We can do anything when it comes to being organized, when it comes to making sure that we're active, when it comes to making sure that we're holding people accountable and making sure that we get something out of the deal. Y'all don't know how to make deals. Y'all mad at Donald J. Trump because he's trying to make deals or trying to say that he's the master of the art of the deal. Well, okay, what deals is you trying to make?
Catch the Tory Lowe Show every weekday from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m.
When I was diagnosed with Hodgkin